What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Radar Show, where today we're going to debate FYF versus Tperfect and if Kobe is a top 10 player of all time. Yeah, and also follow up on the finals, the crazy game 4 that I believe the Pacers just let it get away. So how did you guys feel about the game yesterday?
Do you feel like OKC gave away game 1?
Basically, so it's even to you.
Yeah, I believe they even themselves out. That's it. I believe the Pacers gave it away, and OKC took it in the meantime. And I think at this time now, both teams won on the road. OKC got home court advantage at this point. And I want to make an apology to all the basketball guys out there, man. I didn't respect basketball the way I've always have, and the Pacers. I would never, because of the Pacers, I would never disrespect the basketball guys again. I won't. I would never say I don't care how much of an advantage I feel like a team have over another, or it should be over in 5. And because I didn't respect the game like I was supposed to. So I apologize to the basketball guys out there, man. And this has been a great series. I love basketball, so that's one. I've always loved basketball, and I've always loved competition. And I love the way these two teams are competing. And, hey, I just like watching great games, man. That matters to me, bro.
Yeah, that was a fantastic game.
So I have a question. John, did you think the Thunder was going to win in 5?
Yeah.
You did?
Remember, okay. I said Thunder in 5. I said Thunder in 5. I actually believe it was going to be a sweep.
Remember, at first, we were talking about how we didn't know how the Pacers just keep winning.
Facts.
And you can't count them out, and you count them out in 5 games.
Yeah, I told you. I said what's scary about this is that I said the Pacers coach. I said this because I said starting the conference finals, I believe Rick Carlisle was going to outcoach every team he played against. I just didn't know where the Pacers was going to get their points from this series because I felt like the Pacers like to run, but OKC knows how to combat that. And you saw in game 1 the way it went. The Pacers actually had to slow down. Remember, they was turning over the ball like crazy. And it just like it was. I felt like the Pacers had. I didn't know they had it in them. Did you feel like the Pacers had that type of half-court game in them?
Yes.
The Pacers are unpredictable. They're unpredictable. You can't game plan for them really. Yes. Even like yesterday, when they was up with 2 minutes left, up by 1, they just start making ridiculous fouls, turnovers, bad shots. Like they just imploded. It was weird how they just imploded the last 2 minutes when they're the clutchest team in the last 2 minutes. But give it to Shea. He just won the game.
Well, Shea actually showed up yesterday. Like he was hitting big shots. He was way more aggressive, like down the stretch. And they were playing great defense. Both teams could have got out of their way. They just made their shots down the stretch. Dude, those 2 free throws missed by who was it? Matherin or whatever.
He missed. He went 3 for 4. And
that was huge.
And he was just fouling Shea. Like he's complaining like, you was fouling him. So
yeah,
he gave away like 4 points to Shea, and he gave away 3 points to the Pacers. Like
they're gonna bounce back. I still have Pacers in 6, but we'll see.
Did the Pacers play better as an underdog?
Of course.
It is going into yesterday's game. They was no longer the underdogs in this series.
But they were up. They should have won the game.
They should have won that game. That's ridiculous. They had the home court.
If the Pacers lose this series, it was because of yesterday's game.
Yeah,
it's going to be one of the best 5. It's going to be one of the best game 5s though ever. I am calling it right now. One of the best.
You just can't. You just cannot just let games go like that.
No.
Terrible fouls and missed free throws.
All right.
I mean, you go 3-1 on this series. If you're on the Pacers side, you're going back to OKC. Even if you gave away, which they wouldn't give away Game 5, but okay, you lose Game 5, you coming back to Indiana for Game 6, and you got 2 games to win one. They're gonna win one of them games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely the way the Pacers are playing.
That's factual. So we got the link. I'm gonna see if I can copy that. Give it to Mr. FYF himself here.
I had McCullins as the Finals MVP before the end of the game yesterday. I said so far I thought McCullins was the Finals MVP for the Pacers because I feel like he's changing the whole series.
Oh, he's bringing energy.
Yes, crazy energy.
Yeah,
crazy
energy.
Play.
They win by committee.
Yeah, facts. They do.
How do you feel about them winning by committee other than just having one player dominate? Like how you
this is the way teams are supposed to be built, man. Like everybody, like when you dream of a team, right? You dream of this team. Like you have a couple of alphas. You have guys who can take over, like Miles Turner and Siakam, and guys who can hit big shots. Guys who are athletic. They can defend. They can, to some degree, they can all create their own shots. And like it goes like 1 through 12, like it really does. And this is like the epitome of a team. Like you really don't have a super weak spot. I do think that Jay Willie was abusing what's his name in the last couple of games, but you have this team is deep. They can hit shots. They're all confident, and they just got away from them last night. I think they'll do better in Game 5. I think they'll win Game 5. But we'll see. Too. I mean, if Shea and Jay Willie show up like that, Chet showed up, pretty huge too. We'll see. Great series.
The way Naismith was guarding Brunson in the last series, it don't even like he plays defense in this series because Williams is just taking it to him like you can't guard anybody.
Well, he's a tough cover, man.
But the way he's playing is going to, and I'm being honest, I think it's the way OKC needs to go to start, even after the series start next year, because I think the responsibility of Shea having to run the offense and run that and do all the scoring on the team is weighing on him a little bit. I think it's showing itself, and I think Williams had to step up his game some, and he has to add something to his game over the summer and controlling the ball, running the offense. He needs to add to his game. If he's going to take it up to another level, I think that's exactly what he needs to do because he's doing it right now. So I think it's something he needs to do in the future. Because what teams going to do what they're doing, hey, we're going to pressure Shea all game. And guess what? What's going to happen in the fourth quarter? You're going to be exhausted. So I think it's some OKC need to do.
I mean, it looked like the last 2 games before this, Shea was looking tired.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Shea was looking tired.
Yeah, Shea was looking tired.
I think Williams needs to handle the ball more and make more, and Shea needs to play off the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, Shea had 35 points with 0 assists.
Yeah,
yeah, crazy. First time it's ever happened. They said
he needs to go. That's
Michael Jordan game right there.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Whatever though. I mean, he was doing what he needed to do. He was being aggressive. He wasn't settling. And didn't let the game come to him like it did in Game 3. It was a fantastic game. I thought the Pacers would win, but whatever. I think they'll come. I think it's going to be another game like that on Friday, or was it Monday? They play again?
Yeah, I think it's Monday.
Okay, yeah. So Lamont says he's on his way here, so he should be here momentarily.
Hey, Twin Man, I see you in the comments. When you get a chance, write your top 10 down list. I want to see it because we all know you're not a Kobe fan. You don't have
top 10?
Kobe your top. No, Twin Man.
Oh, Twin Man. So let me give people a little bit of a background here for this debate, guys. So you saw this was a couple of on FYF stream. You guys probably saw it. Like I think it was a couple days ago.
Yeah, I saw it.
It was all about how Kobe is not a top 10 player according to Lamont and his what he considers his criteria. But he used other things too. Like he used the sidekick example. He said that no player who's a sidekick can possibly be top 10. That just automatic disqualification. And then he did send me his top 10 and his criteria. So my job today is to go at his criteria and basically prove to you guys that even with his criteria, Kobe is a top 10 player. And he's going to, I guess, try and stand pat on his assertion that he is not. And so there were just a lot of things that was what I took exception with because I couldn't disagree more. And I really hate that I've become like such a Kobe defender lately because I was the one who originally said I think he's overrated.
I understood the sidekick portion for a long time. And when I really started doing deep diving into my top 10 and say who's my top 10, I'm giving other people passes for being a sidekick, but I wasn't giving Kobe a pass for being a sidekick. Because I had him at 11 too forever. And when you start deep diving into everything, looking at some news reports from back in the day, just really paying attention to how they spoke at the players when they were playing at the time they was playing, not today. Because, hey, once they go away, hey, we got to respect the player. But I read news reports from when they was playing. We got to start reading up on some of this stuff. And that's why when you asked me why I had Kobe, I had him at 7. And because I moved him up. Because some of the stuff I was giving people passes for, and that was based off sometimes other people assert how they felt about the player and not directly how I felt about it.
Yeah, I always had Kobe ranked pretty high. I probably have Kobe ranked higher than most. I really value what Kobe did on the floor. What Kobe did on the floor was pretty amazing. So, it's kind of hard for me to listen to someone who has Michael Jordan as a GOAT but has Kobe like 8 or 8 to 15. It's kind of hard because they're close to the same player. And I did hear the Gill argument that it's not fair to try to compare Kobe to Michael Jordan because we never seen Kobe as the younger Michael Jordan. He was flying all over the place. Like you can't really say that Kobe is comparable to Michael Jordan, but that Kobe was better than that Michael Jordan. That Kobe was more fundamentally sound than that Michael Jordan. You put Kobe Bryant, what Jordan was like, 25 and 88? You put a 25-year-old Kobe against the Pistons. The Bulls is winning the title with Kobe. That's how great Kobe was. You couldn't just tell Kobe that we're not going to let you drive to the lane. We're going to force you to shoot jumpers. Kobe would destroy the Pistons if they forced him to shoot jumpers. So you cannot tell me that a 25, 26-year-old Kobe Jordan was better than that same age Kobe. Like I said, so you put Michael Jordan, 96 Michael Jordan, in 1988, the Bulls is winning the title. You're not going to limit a 96, 93 Jordan to jumpers and win a playoff series. That's not happening. That Michael
Playing right
Jordan
into his hands.
Yeah, that Michael Jordan was not as great as a later Michael Jordan. Just because he was jumping higher than most players doesn't mean he was better. Vince Carter jumped higher than a lot of players. He was not better than Kobe Bryant.
I think 93 Mike was pretty well put together. Maybe you talk about 88 Mike, sure, but
92, 93 Michael Jordan.
Yeah, 92, 93 is the best Jordan, but still you put that Jordan in 88, they're winning the title.
Yeah.
You definitely put the 96 Jordan in there. He's winning the title in 88.
Danny Mack, you said Kobe wasn't on sidekick. So tell me what he was his first year. Tell me what he was his second year. Tell me what it was his third year. Kobe is he's a top 10 player all time, but we can't make up stuff about his career and not pretend like he wasn't drafted at a certain spot and thinking he was the number one guy from day one. Now, I do blame the coach for a lot of stuff. His progression was slower, but because it happened, it actually happened. But that's what it was. Kobe wasn't the guy from day one. He progressed. He became the number one
he
guy.
Definitely got better. Like Kobe said, Phil Jackson told him to slow his game down so he could make sure Shaq was not upset.
Yeah, and believe me, I have all the fixins for that stupid.
Right, so okay, so I've been looking at Twin Man's. Me and him got 1, 2, and 3. That's ours. Brian, Kareem, Jordan, Wilt, and Russell. You got Duncan, Shaq, Magic, Bird, Dream. I would never put Dream over Kobe Bryant. I mean, even though he always shows up in any ranking over Kobe Bryant, no matter if ChatGPT says it or not. But I will always put Kobe above Dream.
Literally, Bird's about to be out of my top 10.
But just looking at these players, I always say that if you're one of the top 2 players in your like decade, you have a argument. So you look at the 60s, it was Wilt and Russell. You look at the 70s, it was Dr. J and Kareem. The 80s, Bird and Magic. I think only the 90s, it was just Jordan head and shoulders above everybody. I don't think he had anybody who can compare to him. I know they say the Dream, but the Dream did not compare to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was worlds better than Hakeem Olajuwon. Then, like, the tough one is when you look at the 2000s. Are you going to put Shaq and Duncan and Kobe? You got those 3. You got to compare those 3.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, is there any way we can put so I want to put out just so there's a firm reference for the chat here. I can give Lamont's top 10. Can have it up here.
Yeah, just send it in the private if you have it yet.
Okay.
And I can copy and paste it over.
Sure. Okay, Jordan. And then who wants to, or how can we time this? We were thinking about doing 3 4-minute rounds. Let's see here. Kendra, Bird, Magic, Shaq.
Danny Mac, you talking about 99, 2000, or 2000, 2001? I think we really got to start looking at it. when you, let me tell you how you know who the number one option is. Stop looking at what defenses run. Start looking at how defenses.
That's the order, Travis. I'm sorry, John. That's the order.
It's not the order, but that's his top 10.
Okay.
I mean, he says Jordan's the GOAT until LeBron retires, but the rest I don't think is in order.
22? No. That's Shaq MVP, yeah. You said he wasn't a second Shaq MVP yet? No, we're not doing that. Not his MVP yet. And if you want to start having the conversation after that, I think you can have the conversation. I still think it's Shaq, but for the next couple of years. But
believe me, I have Shaq over Kobe, but only by 1 spot because their careers are almost identical as far as peak longevity, prime accolades, achievements. I mean, I think Kobe is. The only reason I give it to him is because he had a more dominant stretch winning championships. But we're going to find out today. So, would you be able to or does someone have a stopwatch?
Actually, that goes against forget who's the number one option. Oh, you believe in that 1A, 1B stuff. I don't do 1A, 1B. I don't think that should even, because I don't want to be 1B because you're telling me 1B is 2. I believe it's a 1 and a 2. I don't believe in 1A, 1B.
So yeah, so Travis, he said that Kobe, like him being a sidekick, hurts him. He said.
He said that no player who's a quote unquote sidekick is allowed to be top 10, but
I mean,
there's
but he
really
had
no
Magic and
context for that.
Kareem. Well, he has Magic and Kareem.
Well,
They were
no, believe me,
sidekicks to each
Yeah.
other.
I have it on deck. I'll take care of it.
I
Believe
mean,
me.
Shaq was a sidekick to Wade. Curry was a sidekick to Kevin
Hey,
Durant.
believe
Like,
me, there's so many holes, and I
doesn't
poked
make
them
any
all
sense.
in. Hey, don't give away
Doesn't make
my
any sense.
points. Believe me,
Jordan
it's
was a sidekick to Pippen.
shut the fuck up. So Lamont should be here.
I believe people really hate calling Kobe a sidekick. I mean, it's
I mean,
points in
that's
your career that it has to happen.
it's
So
a negative. It's a
my thing
negative.
is, even
That's
if
why Pippen never gets respect.
Yeah,
here's the thing, like this is the only thing I'll say because I don't want to give away too many of my talking points for him to try to counter. But even if that's correct, who cares? It's all about the production. I don't care what the team because that you can have that same energy with so many other of these guys that we're going to talk about, and I will point that out. But nobody ever talks about it because they're only going by the name. Oh, it's Shaq. They don't care what Kobe did, what he didn't do, what he won during that time. It's only Shaq was the most dominant player. They don't care
I
about the
mean,
production.
yeah, it doesn't matter if you have two starting lineups. That's 10 players.
Yeah. Do you
Not
care
one
that Bill
person would
Russell
not
won
choose Kobe.
Do
Not
you care
person
that
would
Bill
not choose
Russell
Kobe.
won a freaking ring in
Yeah,
1959, averaging 9 points a game as the seventh option? No, right?
yeah,
So let's keep that same energy.
yeah. Like
don't
we
give
have
away
to.
too much, Travis. Don't give away too
Yeah,
much,
No,
Travis.
I'm not. I'm not.
yeah. For me, I'm just saying, like, if you have two lineups, 5 players each, not one person would not choose LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan. I don't care what
Obviously.
mindset you have in. No one would do that. No one would do
Uh-huh.
that. Like, with the centers, you could, debate. I mean, it's just hard for me to not see Kobe Bryant. It's hard to keep him out of the top 5 to me. It's just hard to keep Kobe out the top 5 to me.
Hey, Herm, you give Scotty respect, but I hear from people all day. Trust me, Scotty is disrespected every day.
Yeah,
And
Scotty
here in
can't
Chicago, he's respected here in Chicago.
not
But
all the time. Not
no,
all.
you're right, not all the time,
No.
but trust me, during the heydays of that going on, Scotty got respect.
Doran definitely. Afterwards, Chicago
Afterwards,
disrespect Pippen more than anybody.
it did calm down. I mean, you've heard people kill Scotty,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because Scotty should get the utmost respect. That's why
Scotty
he's
was,
responding like he's responding now because he wants respect because he deserves it.
Scotty would never get the
No.
respect he deserved. He would never get it because he played with Jordan, and they have to elevate Jordan to this certain standard, and Scotty's in the way.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Scotty, I think is underrated, but he played 7 years without Jordan. Doesn't have an MVP, no Finals MVP. Like, missed me with Scotty's top 10.
I mean, Baby Jordan played 5 years without Scotty. What you talking about?
Yeah, and you won
He won
MVPs.
one game. He won one game in the playoffs. You talking about what MVP he got without Pippen?
You mean when Pippen? Sorry,
the imaginary one. Which one?
When Pippen was a rookie?
Yeah, the imaginary one or the imaginary one. Which one he got without Scotty? It has to be one of the two. The one that didn't exist or the one that don't exist.
Yeah, you're right. Scotty was the cause on the bench.
I mean,
playing
you
8
just
minutes.
said he never won anything without Mike, but that's
he
what
didn't.
He didn't win nothing without Pippen.
So what?
You can't use that argument.
We go round and around. There's zero point to this.
Well.
All great players need each other. That's how it works.
But you just try to disrespect Scotty by saying that.
No, I didn't.
But then when it's put back
I didn't because the narrative is that he's vastly underrated and like he's this super top 10 player secretly. No, he's not.
No one says Scotty's top 10 though. That's the thing.
Well, where do you have him? I have him at like a respectable top 20.
A lot of people don't have him top 20.
I do.
People have him in the top 20.
He's the best wing defender of all time. He's all around. He's a great all around two-way player. He's a top 10 two-way player.
They don't have him as top 20. Any media ranking, they don't have him as top 20. And by saying he never won anything without Jordan, And then when you say that Jordan never won anything about Scottie, it's always something else. Why he did. But it's just okay to say
he basically played 2 years without Scottie. Like, who cares?
He played 5 years without Scottie.
Oh, okay. I mean, at the beginning of
5 years in real life. Real life 5 years without Scottie. Not imaginary years. 5 real years.
Okay. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Prime Jordan in Washington for sure.
I'm just saying he did. It's not my fault. You're taking Scottie's old years and adding 7 years.
Old years? He was in his prime in 94?
That's 1 year. You're taking all the Scottie years, but then you want to remove Jordan years because he played in Washington. But
I don't care where he played.
Apparently, you don't care where Scottie played, but you care what Jordan played.
Scottie played with Hakeem and Barkley and Bonzi Wells and Steve Smith. What are you talking about? He had way better teams.
If Jordan don't play for Washington, he doesn't have 30,000 points.
No, that's true. It was just pat at the end.
His career average is higher, though. His career average is higher, but he doesn't have 30,000 points.
Yeah.
It is like it's like at 31 points, right?
Yeah, it was like 31 or 32.
Mm-hmm. All right. So where's Lamont at here? Look at this pop in here. I can text him again here. Let's see. Is he in the chat?
I ain't seen him in the chat yet.
So how many rounds are y'all doing?
I want to do, if I told Lamont, probably do 3 rounds of 5 minutes each.
3 rounds of 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Huh?
I gotta get for me to do 5 minutes. I gotta get better at this myself.
I mean,
that's why I write down when I'm sitting here for debates. I write down a lot of stuff because I try to take notes.
I mean, to be really concise, you need 2 minutes.
Yeah. You said
2 minutes is almost impossible to get your shit off.
Rambling. 5 minutes is a bunch of rambling. All right, well, who's doing the timer? Is it you, John?
I can do the time.
I'll
do it on my iPhone.
All right, then. Well,
so it's gonna be 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I was debating between 4 and 5. I really don't care.
I mean, y'all can decide once y'all get.
Travis could. Yeah. Travis could
come
on for 10 minutes.
John, do you think he ducking?
I just texted him again. I'm gonna say, I'm like, hey man, we're waiting for you. Texted him again and again. He didn't want to do it.
When you said that y'all was gonna do it around 3, that's why I messaged you. I said, "Are we still doing the show tonight?"
Well, yesterday, yeah. He says, "Give me a sec, I'll be there." So yesterday, he said, I talked to him. And he's like, "Let's do it on my show at noon." I'm like, "Okay." Then I hit him up at noon. He's like, "Oh, let's do it on your show at 3." I'm like, "Wherever, dude. Like, let's just do this." Like, I despise your take so much. I can't wait to get a piece of it.
Hey, Twin Man, do you have anybody in the top 20 who play for the New York Knicks?
Is Ewing top 20?
I want to answer.
Willis Reed is, right?
Twin Man, I want to answer. Twin Man, I want to answer. And you better not say Patrick Ewing at 20. You say Patrick Ewing at 20, you don't believe it.
I'm gonna let Twin Man come on up.
You can be a judge.
Yeah, I'll let Twin Man come up. If Sturdy's in there too, he can come up if he's still there.
Hey, I seen Sturdy a long time ago. I became a fan of Sturdy a long time ago. He had did a debate, and it was with Ticket TV, and Ticket TV was trying to belittle him because he wasn't. I guess Sturdy wasn't known yet out there like that, and Sturdy kept his cool. He did a debate.
Stop it! Kiss the blackest part of my ass, John.
You didn't answer my question though.
You kissed the blackest part of my ass, John. Leave my Knicks alone.
Oh, I'm gonna see if I can make Twin Man a fan with this debate.
Who in the top 20 is in?
I don't understand why people think I'm not a fan of Kobe Bryant. Just because I don't overrate his career and I like to tell the truth, that doesn't mean I hate Kobe Bryant. Y'all know full well Kobe wasn't in top 5 talks or top 10 talks when he was still walking the earth, and y'all know it.
All right, hey, Toy Man. Why do you have Hakeem over Kobe?
Because he's arguably one of the best defenders ever. Kobe doesn't have that.
Okay, Kobe's a better offensive player. He's one of the best.
And Dream was a slouch on the offensive side of the ball.
He wasn't better than Kobe.
Scotty, I mean, Kobe wasn't no slouch on the defense.
Kobe was good defensively.
And so does Kobe have an argument to be one of the best offensive players ever?
I'll say he do.
I believe you can argue.
Yeah, I say he do.
Of course he does.
Fan delusional.
How? Well, why doesn't he have a case to be? Well, let's say top 5 offensive player. Why is he not top 5 offensive player?
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. I said why.
And this is the bad part, B. Lee. You know basketball enough to know Kobe does not have an argument to be one of the top 5 best offensive players in the league. You know that. For being
man, just tell me. I'm listening.
Because you know he was wildly inefficient from the field.
I knew he was going to use it.
Okay, you say he was.
Am I lying though?
Am I lying? Wildly inefficient. He
wasn't wild.
I would say he was wildly inefficient.
Hold up. Compared to I'm talking about strictly offense. Compared to some of these players ever, you know full well he is not a top 5 offensive player. I'll be nice and say maybe top 10, and that's a maybe.
That's
okay, Troy, but you said wildly inefficient. That's not true. We know that's not true.
Hold on. So like LeBron, compared to people like
Andrew Wilson, inefficient.
People like
boys.
Stop it.
Okay, guys. We'll see. We can see if I can convert Twin Man to a Kobe top.
Okay,
10.
hold on.
Lamont is here.
I'll let Twin Man get this offer for 2 minutes.
Fuck no.
We could wait 2 minutes. Okay, LeBron, Kobe. Who else?
Won't happen. I'm not gonna wildly overrate Kobe like y'all do.
No. That man, just the offense. That's just the top 5.
There was some sports. There was some ranking. There were people who conducted rankings, and there were people like ESPN who did have Kobe ranked from 8th to 15th. There were some who had him outside of it. Hold up.
After the offensive thing.
Hold up, B. Lee. But most had him outside of the top 10. And you know it. Kobe didn't start getting this conversation until he passed. God rest his soul. But that's why I'm not doing it.
Okay,
and then we completely
those people have
you're basically not going to answer the question. All right, that's fine. That's fine. You're not going to answer the question. So let's go ahead to Travis and Lamont. Since you're not going to answer.
I think we need to start looking at. I think we need to start looking at Larry Bird resume. And when I say look at his resume,
it's nowhere near Kobe's.
I think we need to look at his playoff resume.
Yeah, he's a playoff lower.
So John, you're taking time. Anyways, you're taking the
time.
Right.
So Lamont, I'll let you decide here. We have we're debating between 3, 4, or 5 minute rounds. What do you think?
5-minute rounds.
3, 4.
That's what we said.
Fucking Christ.
What I said.
We said
this
is good.
Pretty standard.
It's 5. That's not standard.
I
mean.
Right, let's do 4-minute rounds.
Hold on. Does everybody okay? This is a very odd debate. Like, first of all, I don't think it's a debatable matter, but it is what it is. I ain't tripping. Does everybody? I don't know who's listening, at least on the panel outside the Tperfect. Do y'all understand how we're debating this?
I completely explained it.
So we're debating it with criteria, right? Let me ask everybody: does everybody understand what my criteria is?
No.
We're gonna explain it right before we get started. I give them your top 10. Simple.
I don't pick my top 10. My criteria dictates who my top 10 is, and if you fall within my criteria, you happen to be top 10.
Yeah, and I disagree with your criteria.
That's the problem. See, this is why it's very weird, because now it takes you from first you don't like Kobe's not in my top 10 to you don't like my criteria. My criteria.
No. So here's the deal, guys. He's trying to.
Let me say one thing. My criteria is specifically designed to, one, protect players of the past. Players of the past, longevity was different. 10 to 13 years was longevity, 50s and 60s. Also, certain accolades and awards didn't exist. My criteria has to encompass how can I incorporate a player's greatness without, one, judging them based on how the game looked or how it was played, and giving them credit for what was great in their time, irrespective to what awards exist then and now. That's okay. So for the people to know, my criteria consists of 5 things: championships or significant winning. That's 1. 2 is impact on how the game is played. And when I say impact on how the game is played, it's not cultural. It's not anything like Iverson who wearing baggy jeans or anything like that. It's impact on how the game is played. It's, did this player change the sport strategically or tactically, like Steph, like the Shaqs, like the Wilt and the Bills with rule changes, even Jordan affecting certain rule changes, impacting the game strategically or tactically, right? How the game is actually played. Decade level dominance. Did you dominate your decade? Why do I say decade level dominance? Because we all know what dominance over your decade looks like. We don't need a specific first, all NBA first team to dictate it. We don't have to run to accolades, whether they exist or not. We know if you dominated your decade or not, right? Those players typically stand out. 4 is, are you the GOAT of anything? Are you the greatest shooter of all time? Are you the greatest at your position of all time? Are you the greatest winner of all time? Are you the greatest at anything? Can we look to you and say that you're the greatest of anything of all time, right? When we look to the Magic's greatest passer, Steph, the greatest shooter, right? Bron may be the best athlete. I mean, there's a lot of best of the best you can potentially be. Are you looked at as the best of anything, the GOAT of something? And then the 5th is MVPs. It's the hardest award to win in basketball, but it was the least available to most eras of basketball, right? It separates a whole bunch of players who have a whole bunch of first teams. What separates them? Well, the guys that won the most MVPs. That typically separates the best of the best. The MVPs is the hardest individual award you can win as an NBA player. That's my 5 levels of criteria. Yep. Now, the debate is not if you like my criteria or not.
I know exactly it's not.
The debate is this.
I'm going to convince
Show me
people,
that Kobe Bryant is top 10 using my criteria.
I'm going to. That's exactly what I plan on doing.
I look forward to hearing it. Now,
okay.
I don't know how we do this in debate formula.
So here's how we do in debate formula.
I just think we need 1 round each.
No, we're doing 3. We're doing 3 rounds each, and here's your job. Your job is going to be
3 rounds.
That's what he says. That's what he told you.
There's a lot of info. I'm not going to break down your.
That's what
listen,
he said.
I'm not going to.
3 rounds.
I can't encompass all of your 3 4-minute rounds, dude. 4-minute rounds. We're doing
3
this
4-minute rounds.
Debate form because I'm not going to address all of your criteria and why Kobe's a top 10 with your criteria in 1 round. It's ridiculous. You're just trying to get off easy, bro. So
I'm saying you can get it off in 1 take.
I don't want. It's a debate. No, and then I'm not going to give you time to sit there and talk about. So your job is to convince these people that you already have your top 10. You already have your criteria. You should have it easy. Your job is to convince them that Kobe is not top 10 with your criteria as I bring up my points. Okay. Obviously, I go first, and then you can say whatever you want. Club is wrapped up because I think you've done Kobe disservice by leaving him off.
So you're telling me that. So you're telling me that I'm doing Kobe a disservice because he doesn't meet the top 10 criteria.
Yeah, and let's get it rolling so I can show you why.
He's ready today. I watched it live too, and I understood. But hey,
Travis is ready, boy.
Yeah, it should be easy for you to defend your stance, then, right?
No, it's
hey.
Okay, well, hold up, because this is a little bit confusing. So basically, Lamont says he only need a few minutes, and Travis, you need like 15 minutes.
A few minutes. He had a 6-hour stream.
It wasn't about Kobe being. The stream was not about Kobe being ranked top 10. The stream was about if you have Kobe in your top 10, it specifically and directly means that you are using the 3 championships that he won with Shaq, even though he was looked at as a sidekick, according to Kobe's own words. I specifically said, if you're using all 5 of Kobe's championships, I get it. I'm not knocking you. But I said, and the example that I used was Kobe as a sidekick, and even Scottie Pippen.
I don't need you to reiterate anything.
Are kind of
Let's just start this.
I'm just trying to explain.
You can use it on your debate. I don't care what you have to say right now.
I want people to understand. It's just I never
understand what.
Hold on. I don't. I literally said it in the live stream like 10 times. I do not debate people's top 10s.
We're not debating my top 10.
And what I'm telling people is, because my only thing was, if you have Kobe in your top 10, it specifically means, to me, I feel like it's hypocritical if you don't give a player like Scottie Pippen or John Havlicek a boost as well, because they also won as sidekicks, but they were also great in their own right. That was my only contention. I'm not. If you have them in your top 10, I just said Pippen needs to follow somewhere behind for the same reasons.
Yeah, way behind.
No, and I'm not saying it's close, but I'm saying I need to see a significant boost.
All right, so let's get this started because we don't need another monologue.
I mean, I get that you wanted to.
We're going to break it all down. I'm going to break it all down.
All right. Juan Boy, are you there, right?
Yeah.
Boy, you there? Okay, so John, Twin Man, and Juan Boy is going to judge this. So.
Okay. We'll try to do this.
And you can, like, your job, you can just and reinforce your points and refute everything I have to say.
This off, so it'll give
I'm going to
clarity on what we're actually debating.
I am going to start it off.
How many minutes? How many minutes before?
Just 4 minute, 3 or 4 minute round, Justin. Just 4 minutes.
4 minute round. Okay.
I don't understand what's so funny.
Go ahead and cook, Travis. Go ahead and cook.
You're laughing because you are ready, Travis. You are ready, bro.
Travis, I am ready. Lamont's trying to weasel his way out of this.
Travis must have something because he must have something.
I'm weaseling my way out of it.
Travis got something. And
okay, go ahead, Travis. Go ahead and cook, Travis. We with you.
All right. So, John, you're the timer, right?
Yeah.
He was timing.
I'm timing.
All right, just give me a countdown. Tell me when to start.
Hey, when you start, I'm going to hit start.
All right. So, as obviously we've been told ad nauseum now, this is going to be specifically, just so there's no questions, okay, me going after Lamont's criteria and basically proving that Kobe deserves a place on his own top 10 list using his criteria, which he, again, just broke down. We talked about it before he showed up. We gave you his top 10, okay? So let's start it off, right? His own criteria, championships and winning, right? So obviously we'll state what you already know. Kobe has 7 finals appearances, right? More than Larry Bird, Shaq, Will, and I'm only going to be comparing him to players on his list just so there's no confusion, okay? So that's more than Larry Bird, more than Shaq, Will, and Tim Duncan. He has more rings than Will, Bird, Shaq, Curry, and LeBron. Now let's talk what you heard him, right? Let's address the sidekick narrative, all right? Now, we all know that Kobe's really the only one that gets hit or dinged for being a quote-unquote sidekick in the all-time rankings. If you want to make a case for anyone else, I'll listen to it. But that's the only thing I've ever heard anyone say when you're trying to compare or decide someone's ranking. Kobe always gets a knock for this. Is it deserved? I don't think so. So from 2000 to 2004, Kobe led the Lakers in scoring. Right now, this is for obviously when they all put it together, right? And then went on their run. So from 2000 to 2004, Kobe led the Lakers in scoring during 9 of the 18 series the Lakers played. Half. And all 9 of those were in the Western Conference Series. The undisputed toughest series, maybe of all time. Okay, but way tougher than the finals, right? He also led the Lakers in overall assists and steals during this time frame. Now, just for comparison's sake, Magic Johnson and Bill Russell were, on average, the 3rd and 5th leading scoring options on their own teams during their first 4 finals appearances. Hell, Bill Russell won a chip in 1959, averaging 9 points per game as the 7th option. But it's fine, though, right? Because they were doing other things on the court, which is, they were. Now, flip that over to, let's say, someone like Kareem, right? Who was on average the 4th leading option during his last 3 finals runs. Now, before I get on to the other guy, take it where that means, right? Do those guys ever get knocked because they, weren't the first scoring options? Never. You have never heard, if you say you did, then you're a liar. You've never heard anyone knock Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, even Steph Curry was a quote-unquote sidekick for 2 of his rings, right? But Lamont definitely didn't want that energy or keep that same, kind of consistency when ranking. Now, Steph Curry, obviously, I don't do Steph Curry is in my top 10, and I don't use the Kevin Durant thing against him either. But according to Lamont, he is disqualified from being a top. All 3 of those players should be disqualified because they were sidekicks in every sense of the word, right? How long, John?
1 minute left.
Okay. So when you're talking about that, right, Kobe outperformed those guys, especially during his first 3 rings. There's no doubt about that. He was sidekick in name only, okay? And if you want to, those are only names that are on Lamont's list. And again, he's not going to remove them or dock them because, like I said, they were along for the ride in every sense of the word. So I'd find that's a bit hypocritical, but next round we'll go on to some of the other things too.
That's your answer.
Yep, yield my time.
All right. I'll go. I can simply. That's why I said this will only take 1 round. This is not about any particular player being a sidekick. This is why I say people should listen before they actually talk or even try to debate. Right? I don't use Kobe as a sidekick against him. That's just a talking point for a show. When I rank Kobe and when I talk about Kobe, when I have my 5 elements of criteria, championships, impact on the game, decade level dominance, the GOAT at something, and MVPs, you have to start checking boxes. When I come to Kobe and when I go to championships and significant winning, I don't have to run down all the times he went to the finals. I know he has 5 championships and he won a lot. There's a check mark there. We move on to the next topic. He's a winner. I never hold it against him in my ranking. It's where Kobe, he gets hit when it comes to the other elements of my criteria. When it comes to decade level dominance, that's another check mark for Kobe. We know he dominated his decade, right? We don't need a whole bunch of fancy first teams and defensive teams. We know Kobe for 10 years was dominant. We check that box there. We simplify it. Impact on how the game is played. Kobe did not significantly change the game, the way the game was played. No rule changes. Nothing strategically or tactically was changed for Kobe that's going to go down in the ranks of how Bill Russell or Wilt or guys like that changed the game. That's unfortunate for Kobe. Is he the GOAT of anything? Kobe is not the GOAT of anything. He's not the greatest shooter of all time. He's not the greatest scorer of all time. He's not the GOAT of it. He's not the greatest shooting guard of all time. Kobe is just not the GOAT of anything. He's not the greatest of anything, right? That's unfortunate, at least in my book. It's subjective, but in my book. And then when it goes to MVPs, it's unfortunate that Kobe only has 1 MVP, but he only has 1 MVP. That's far less than everybody in my top 10. That's unfortunate. That puts Kobe in my 10 to 15 range. And I just haven't had time to exactly rank my 10 to 15 range. Kobe's criteria puts him in my 10 to 15 range. The guys that I have ranked ahead of Kobe are, when we go to my list, number 1, I'm going to have, and I say I have Michael Jordan as number 1 until LeBron retires, but number 1, I got Jordan. He's a champion, check mark. He impact on the game, check mark, with the way rules were changed for Michael Jordan. Decade level dominance, check mark. Was he the GOAT of anything? He's obviously at least the greatest shooting guard of all time. And then MVPs, 5 MVPs. The same can be said if we use that same criteria for Bill Russell. He checks the box in all of those categories. When we go to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he has 5 check marks. When we go to Magic Johnson, he has 5 check marks. When we go to when we look at every player in my top 10, from LeBron to Jordan to Bill Russell to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Shaquille O'Neal, and then Steph Curry, they all meet the criteria that I have defined as what it means to be one of the top 10 greatest players of all time. Again, I simplify it. I don't need a rundown of years where he was good in the finals. We all know he was great. But at the end of the day, my criteria is my criteria, and just like I said, I don't run to a player that I like because he shot a pretty fadeaway and said, "Oh, I need to find a way to stick him in my top 10." My criteria specifically mitigates things like that. It mitigates certain biases that people might have just in their mind, like era bias. Some people load their top 10 with players from this era or the era just before, and they forget about all the players of the 60s and 70s. I give everybody an equal shot at cracking my top 10 based on what they did in their own era. Is it perfect? Probably not, but it's the best that I can come up with. And my list looks very respectable because of it, because I try to eliminate biases. And I don't think Kobe being outside of the top 10 is a bad thing, especially if he's right there in the next 10 to 15 range.
You done, Lamont?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So as you heard, as he kind of just briefly glanced over the decade level dominance thing, and what he's not going to tell you is that there's inconsistencies in his own criteria, where he specifically says like goat of any specific argument or goat of any specific area, but he has guys like Bird, Shaq, Tim Duncan. What are they the goat of? Are you going to say like Duncan with his all defensive selections? When Lamont says he really doesn't care about that, right? Bird, what is he the goat of? What is again, you have Shaq. All those guys don't lead in anything. They didn't really there's nothing you can point them statistically that they were the GOAT in. So all these things, that's at least three names right there that he just threw on there. Because you can say Steph Curry has the most 3-pointers, sure. But I think that's a strong man argument, especially when you look at decade level dominance. A lot of those players don't come near to what Kobe did. So also the decade level dominance, Kobe, yes, you were right about that, Lamont. Kobe definitely gets that check mark, maybe more than any other player in league history. But I want to tell the people just how significant that is and why that check mark is maybe the biggest one in your own criteria. So Kobe's one of only 3 players to lead an entire decade in both points per game and total points. Kareem and Wilt are the other 2. One of just 2 players to record at least 10 All-NBA selections and 9 All-Defensive Team selections in a single decade. Tim Duncan's the other. Combine that with 7 finals appearances, 5 rings. Side note, Kobe and Duncan are the only players to actually have at least 15 All-NBA selections and 12 defensive selections at the same time. What other players have shown that level of dominance during a whole decade? And we named them. The players who led in scoring for an entire decade, Kobe, Wilt, and then Kareem, but who else did dominate? Russell didn't lead the 60s in rebounds. That was also Wilt. None of the players led the 80s. None of the players on that led the 80s and 90s in scoring. That was Alex English and Karl Malone. Okay, so to find dominance for a decade, Kobe Bryant checks that. And to be honest, it's really not even close. If you're talking about an entire decade, really the only person behind that, as far as all the accolades, all the achievements, again, is himself, Tim Duncan. Now, that's all alone separates him from anyone else. Like I said, a lot of the players on your list don't meet your own criteria. Likely, you tell me how Larry Bird has a better career than Kobe Bryant, aside from 2 more MVPs. Kobe's actually one of only 15 players to have 3 major MVP awards. Okay, and 12 to have one of only 12 to have 2 Finals MVPs. So that combined with this dominance, and you said the GOAT of anything, right? Again, I come back to that. Like, what are you talking about? Are you going to say Steph Curry's 3-point range? You said Bill Russell with 11 championships. Again, was he the was he really the single best player for every one of those? Feels like a team award. Now, when I say all that, I say this: like, there's a million things that you could say about Kobe Bryant to put him on here. And you said the MVPs, right, is maybe the thing that he lacks, according to yourself. And I mean, I noticed Nikola Jokic isn't on your list yet. But let's say Kobe is actually only one of 6 players in league history to have at least 10 top 10 MVP finishes, but the only one out of that group, with fewer than 4 MVP wins. The others obviously are Mike, Wilt, Kareem, LeBron, and Wilt, right? And Bill. So how can we say he wasn't robbed numerous times? In fact, he has 11 top 5 finishes, second only to LeBron. Okay, he's the only player to have at least 30,000 points, 6K assists, and 6 boards, next to LeBron James. Now, Kobe consistently checks all these metrics for you. Okay, now if you're talking about, you're gonna have to make it make sense, because a lot of these players that you have on your list don't meet your own criteria. At least you haven't defined it as such. You just say go to something MVPs. But again, there's a lot of them that don't have the most MVPs. They don't have anything in the GOAT criteria. They didn't dominate.
Time.
All right. Yeah. Look, very quickly. Yeah. Look, my criteria is broken into 5 categories. There's only 5 players in my top 10 that check off all 5 boxes. From there down, you have players that check off 4 boxes. Even a guy like Shaquille O'Neal who only checks off 3 boxes. But the thing is, he's checking those boxes. He's checking the boxes, right? The guys closest to the top check off more boxes than the others. You got Travis bringing up first teams and all NBAs. I don't care about all of that. That's not the most difficult individual award that you can win as an NBA player. The MVP is the hardest thing to award. Why Kobe didn't get it more? Well, that's a problem that Kobe fans and voters and you guys got to go figure that out. I only count the MVPs, whether you have them or you're not. The championships and the winning, whether you have it or you're not. I understand that all of these elements are unfair. If you get drafted to the wrong team and you spend 10 years on a team that's at the bottom of the NBA, unfortunately, you're not going to be in this conversation because you probably didn't do a lot of significant winning or have an opportunity to win a lot of MVPs. That's the unfair reality of this top 10. It's not fair, and it's not never designed to be fair. I just created a criteria that's going to be fair to every player across every era. The game looks different in the 2000s and now in the 90s versus what it looked like in the 60s and 70s. And what we find is that people will criticize, or what they will do is they will bump guys down their list just because they played in the 60s and 70s, because the game looked different, because they lack certain accolades, because those accolades didn't exist. So when I say dominance over a decade, when you look at Bill Russell is arguably the greatest defensive player of all time, right? Because that's what he's shown within his own decade, right? Does it have to translate to today for us to say that? No. But I have 5 levels of criteria. Kobe Bryant only checks the box on 2 for me. That puts him right outside of the top 10, because guys like Curry and Shaq are sitting towards the bottom of my criteria with 3 check marks as well. Larry Bird, 4 check marks. Wilt, 4 check marks. Duncan, 4. And once you go up from there, you're dealing with the guys who check the box in all 5. So my criteria is set to what it does is it separates the best from the best. The guys 5 of 5 are trend towards the top. The guys with less than 5 start going down from 5 on down. And the guys towards my bottom of my top 10 have around 4 to 3, depending on how you want to arrange them. But that's all it is. And the unfortunate reality of Kobe is it does not penalize him for being a sidekick. He gets full credit for winning. It does not penalize him for anything that all this imaginary stuff that he's making up that was just all conjecture from a live stream that we did, has nothing to do with how I rank players. It's just how we talk basketball just for entertainment. When we break down the top 10, I try not to hold no biases. This is why Hakeem is still in my top 15. This is why Kobe is still in my top 15. Even players that I can throw out a million criticism for find their way in my top 15. But it just comes down to how many boxes you check. You may not like that Kobe has 1 MVP. That's what he got. You need to go cry to somebody else about it. You may not like that he did not significantly impact or change the game like most top 10 players. That's something you got to go take up with Kobe and what he didn't do when he played, right? These are the elements. These are the elements. When we look at the greatest players of all time, this is how they impacted the game. They forced the league to change rules. They impacted the game tactically and things of that nature. So even we can just, like I say, we can just give you guys a quick breakdown of my criteria one more time, at least in regards to Kobe Bryant, so that there's literally no confusion. And I can give it to you as my time starts to end right here. Let me pull it up real quick. For Kobe Bryant, y'all, winning. He's a winner. That's a check mark. Significant winning in championships. He did not impact the game. He did not lead. He did not change anything tactically or strategically. Is that my time? Go ahead.
All right, guys. So I'm going to dedicate this round to actually just kind of reinforcing what I've been saying about Lamont's criteria and just to the judges here. And to the chat here as well. So, and again, this is directly in comparison to some of the players here. Like he said, impact on winning, right? Go to any specific criteria, MVPs. How did they change the game? And what was the other one here? I have it written down. He says, decade level dominance, right? And so when we're talking about Kobe Bryant, there's names on this again that by Lamont's own standards don't actually fit his criteria. Like, let's say, how did Steph Curry dominate his decade? If you want to talk about changing the game as far as leading, like, inspiring a bunch of 3-point, sure, absolutely. But if we're talking about statistically, nope, didn't dominate. If we're talking about winning championships, didn't dominate that over LeBron James, right? If we're talking about being the best player on his own team during those championship runs, didn't do that either. Okay, we're talking about winning the most accolades of anyone in that decade. Didn't do that either. Neither did Larry Bird. Larry Bird won 3 MVPs, sure. So did Magic Johnson. None of them won any. Larry Bird won a couple defensive, but he didn't. He wasn't. He wasn't the best, arguably the best player of that decade. And if you're talking about winning, if you're talking about all these other things, how did he change the game? He's talking about how Kobe only has 3 check marks, right? But he says, by his own admission, that a couple of other guys only do as well. Okay, so it's up to you to decide. Again, you heard the evidence give you that. Again, a lot of these players are really just names that he's thrown onto his top 10 list. He can't tell you why or how they changed the game. He's not going to spell out the decade of dominance that they had. He's really just saying these things. He's not going to give you examples or concrete evidence as to why or how all these players fit his own criteria, and Kobe Bryant doesn't. I just gave you 3 examples. That's why Tim Duncan, guys like Curry and Larry Bird don't check all the criteria there. But Kobe Bryant, and you're going to say if Tim Duncan does, then Kobe Bryant surely does as well. So I actually agree with like his top 5 as far as his list goes. I think most people do. But then when you go down the list and you have a criteria like his, and you don't have Kobe Bryant, even though really the only thing that Kobe's missing, if we're being objective, is just an MVP. But Steph Curry only has 3 major MVPs as well, correct? Kobe matches that. If you want to talk about his extra regular season MVP and just 1 finals MVP, that's your cup of tea. But to me, Kobe is easily ahead of someone like Larry Bird and someone like Steph Curry on that, especially even according to Lamont's own criteria. I would have that. And I went down the numbers. I went down how Kobe is second to none in dominating his own decade. And if we're talking longevity, he has that as well. The numbers there, they speak for themselves. Nobody else on this list is close except for like LeBron and Kareem as far as just being longevity and consistent. Okay, you know that as well. LeBron also said that he dismisses things like defensive accolades and All-NBA teams, when in fact that's one of the most true measurements of being consistent. And a lot of how many great players do we see that have had a great year and won MVP? A lot of them, but then their entire career was nowhere near as consistent as some of these other greats, including Kobe Bryant. You got to factor that in as well. Now, if that's the end-all be-all for Lamont, sure, but again, Kobe Bryant meets at least 4 of his criteria here, and there's other players on there that do not. Okay, and that's according to him, his own there. Now, the onus is on him to justify these other players on his criteria.
Time.
Oh man. First of all, I didn't say Kobe checked the box on 3 of the criteria. I only said he checked the box on 2. Right? You kept harping in on dominance over your decade. When I say dominance over your decade, it's not the best player of your decade. It's just being dominance within your decade, right? When we look at Magic and Bird, those 2 players dominated the 80s, right? When you look at what Shaquille O'Neal did, right? Shaquille O'Neal, there might be years where you can easily say he wasn't the best player, but he was definitely the most dominant player in his own right. Dominant over a 10-year stretch. Dominance can come in many different shapes and forms. I gave that to Kobe. For a decade, Kobe was dominant. Did he have to be the absolute best player for 10 years? No. Dominance over a decade. Steph Curry, does he have to be the best player over a decade? No. But he was dominant through over a 10-year stretch. One of the best players over a 10-year stretch. And that's not, you can't even, I gave that to Kobe. When it comes to winning, I gave that to Kobe. The reason why I said I don't count, and it's not about not even counting defensive accolades. It's because in certain eras of basketball, these defensive accolades weren't available to players. How do we balance that? Right? So we balanced it by just giving you credit for dominance over your decade, and then also using another separator, which is MVPs, not finals MVPs. I don't consider finals MVPs a significant MVP. Anybody can win a finals MVP. We've seen bench players, role players win a finals MVP. It's not a very significant award and it's easy to win. It's one of the easiest awards to win in the NBA if your team can get to the finals, right? So MVPs, league MVPs, not finals MVPs, league MVPs, Kobe Bryant has one. He does not check the box on MVPs. You cannot conflate or mix him with Curry. Curry is the only unanimous MVP, one of the only unanimous MVPs in NBA history. He has two of them. That's still more. When you go to Larry Bird's a three-time champion. Winning, he checks the box, right? When he was the first positionless player in basketball, that checks the box on how you change the game, right? Dominance over his decade, along with Magic Johnson, another box checked, right? The league MVPs that he has 3 MVPs. Check the box. I don't give him the GOAT at his position because he's not the GOAT at his position. That's one of the only check marks he doesn't have. He checks the box. And it's not about, when I say championships, it's not if you have more than another player. It's just, do you check the box in that category? Again, sometimes people like Bill Russell, you just get afforded to being on a winning team for your entire career, and you're going to end up with more championships. How do we equalize that? By equalizing championships. Did you win a lot? Or do you have a lot of championships? We equalize it for everyone. Just, do you check the box or not? Kobe checks 2 of the boxes. 3 of them he left unchecked. Again, if we could have a real conversation, I only got 4-minute rounds. This is about Kobe. You're making it about everybody on my list. The reason why I cannot go through everybody on my list, because we'll be here all day. Now, after this debate is over and you want to go through each player and you want me to outline how each player checks a box of the criteria, where, as I said before, you don't have to check each box to fall in the top 10, because the guys that are 5 out of 5 trend towards the top, which you yourself said the top 5 you agree with. Once we start going down, I can't just, because of my feelings, throw Kobe in and try to create ways for him to check boxes, like you said with longevity, when I've already said that longevity is different in different eras. In the 60s, longevity was 10 to 12 years. Now longevity is pushing 20 years. Do we now penalize players back then because they played shorter, or do we find a way to equalize that, or not really consider it? And my criteria equalizes all of those things and puts everybody at least on the ground where you have a realistic shot of cracking the top 10 without longevity bias or error bias, right? My criteria has LeBron at the 1-2 spot, not because of longevity, but because LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time, based on what he's done, based on how he changed the game, based on his decade of dominance. Those are the things that have changed.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. I mean, obviously, this was a pretty impromptu. I mean, not a huge buildup, but you've heard. I think you guys have a reasonable grasp as to what this is about. For some more context, obviously, you can go check out Lamont's show on that. But you've heard both arguments here, and we'll start with the 3 guys up here. All right, like I tried to push it so that obviously I think Kobe met his criteria. Obviously, you heard the pushback from him as to why he did not. But we'll go around the horn and we'll see what you guys think. We'll start with one boy here.
I think you gotta. It was a point in time in each round you got away from the topic. I think you just kept harping on the accomplishments of what Kobe did within the decade, but you didn't harp on the parts of his criteria where he was talking about the impact or level of winning or changing the game. He got Bird and Magic in there because they helped bring popularity to the NBA. Duncan is in there because, for the whole decade he won over 50 games, no less than 50 games. And he won, 3 titles in the 2000s, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he didn't throw none of the stats at you. And Steph Curry, he helped to revolutionize the game, because not only are teams drafting to prepare their offenses for the future, they have to draft a whole defense to accommodate the style of play that Steph Curry helped implement. So so I'm gonna go with LeBron on this one, because he stuck to his criteria. His criteria was consistent with everything that he was saying, and you was trying to argue against his criteria, and you really don't have no argument against his criteria.
Okay, fair enough. Twin Man.
First things first, excellent debate. I'm going to come at this completely unbiased. I believe you did effectively try to attack his criteria, but I agree with Womboy. Lamont kept on saying this is not about the other accolades Kobe achieved, not the all defensive teams, not the all NBA teams. He stuck completely to his criteria. I liked your argument that you made against other people in his criteria, but I believe Lamont was able to effectively rebut that argument by going right back to his criteria and mentioning those players and why they're in his criteria and which box they checked off. I think you were at a disadvantage because it's hard to argue against someone's criteria. So it was a difficult job for you tonight to try to get him to trip up on his criteria. He really stuck on it. I really did like, though, how you went and tried to point out how there was people in his top 10 that didn't check up off all the boxes. I did like that. But then it hurt you when you sat here and agreed with his top 5. You were supposed, your job was, again, very difficult because you had to like dismantle his criteria, which is going to be hard to do. You see what I'm saying, Travis? But
of course.
Honestly, I enjoyed the debate, solid debate, but I'm going to go with Lamont. I truly do believe you put on an excellent performance, though. If it wasn't about criteria, it probably would have been a different debate.
Fair enough. Great reasoning, John.
I want everybody to know we've had people come up on here, Go James Kingdom, FYF, and they argue for Kobe. I'm glad YouTube records this stuff because for now on, if I don't hear this Kobe talk on why he's top 10, where he belongs top 10, and you don't argue like Travis just did today, I'm not even listening to you. Because what Travis did, he gave you an argument, a great argument. We had people come up here talk about Kobe and not even give you a quarter of what Travis just gave you of why Kobe should be top 10. And the only reason I'm going Lamont, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to use Travis' words. And he said this from day one when I became a part of Go James Kingdom. If you have a criteria, I will respect it. He told us this day one. He tell people all the time, all I care about is if you have a criteria. Travis preaches that. Anybody who come on the show, he argues with you. If you don't have a criteria, it's not consistent for everybody, I don't believe in your criteria. And Lamont has a criteria. It's consistent for everybody. I'm only using Travis' words as what he teaches us. I told Travis, I changed my top 10 because I listened to his words because it mattered and it was fair to everybody. And that's the only reason, because your reason for him being the top 10 player is there. It's perfect. But I'm only using your words, and you said you said if you have a criteria, I'm gonna respect it, and that's what you told us, and that's what Travis has taught anybody who's been a part of Go James Kingdom, and I respect everything Travis says. But the part of this debate was Lamont's criteria. It was almost like he was handicapped because it's Lamont's criteria.
No, and you are absolutely right, John. And that's one thing I'll never take away from Lamont is because, and anyone else, you're right, who comes on here and they have a top 10 and they have a criteria that they can, whether or not I agree with it or want to poke holes in it, I'll talk to them exactly because they have a criteria. And that's, I think, you have to have that regardless of what anyone else says about it or whatever, is because that just means that you've given thought to it and you have a way that you reason things. And Lamont is right about when I first approached him about this debate, I just wanted to do straight up Kobe is top 10. Let's do it. But I think that his request was a little bit more nuanced because he's right. Everybody's criteria is different as far as what they look for, what they value. And when you don't have one and you just come up and start saying things, that's when you lose credibility. And Lamont's exposed a lot of people on this show about it. We've done it here ad nauseum. And I knew it was going to be challenging. I respect your guys' decision. And I think, there was a lot I think that I left on the table. One of the hardest ones I think was going to the how did they impact the game? That one I think was tough to tackle because I think that Kobe was very, very popular. I don't think he changed the game on a level that we could really put up against some of those other names there. But as far as though everything else though, yeah, it was tough. But either way, great debate out of you, and thanks for showing up, man. We really appreciate that. But yeah, good victory out of you.
Yeah. I was just gonna say one thing because I actually found it. It took me a minute to find it because when I did my master's thesis about 3 years ago, my master's thesis was on creating criteria for the top 10, right? And, if you've done a master's thesis, right, the undergrad students are the ones that take it and basically tell everybody what this thesis is useful for. And the one thing I appreciate that the students, the undergrads, when they took my thesis, the 5 things that they wrote down why my criteria was useful over other criteria, because there were about 4 other people that did a similar themed thesis. They broke it down. They basically said that my criteria eliminates longevity bias, and I talked about this. Longevity is different. I try to do something that equalizes everything. LeBron is playing 20 years. Steph and KD, they're going to play, even though it doesn't feel like it, they're going to play close to 20 years, if not more. That's unheard of. And that was unheard of for players of the 70s, 60s. That's just absolutely unheard of. It was unheard of even when Kareem did it. And so how do we balance that? Because KD's still accumulating for all NBAs. Like, do we just, when he's all said and done, do we just throw him in the top 10 because he's accumulated so many all NBA teams because he was able to be so good for so long? How do we start to equalize it? So I feel like it eliminates longevity bias. It honors era-specific greatness. It rejects what I call accolade inflation. And that's kind of what I just talked about with KD. It rewards impact over style. And I think that's where with a lot of players, that it kind of falls into the style versus over the impact. And I think that's what sometimes hurts people like Bill Russell. And then lastly, I think it just starts to separate the best of the best. Like, you can take my criteria and you can take the top 20 players in NBA history, and when you start to pluck using my criteria from the best of the best, you're going to get the Jordans, the LeBrons, and the top players. All right. Categorize them how you want or rank them how you want. But, I try to be fair. I try not to. I mean, my criteria is not designed to hurt anybody in specific. Like I say, this conversation at Kobe being ranked 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15 is all of a sudden become a negative thing only since he's passed. I never saw it before.
Thank you, Lamont.
Was never a negative. I even pulled up how ESPN changed. ESPN had him ranked 12 in 2016. And in 2020, all of a sudden he's ranked over Shaq at like 8 or 9. And it's just like, okay, I mean, I get it, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't judge people based on their top 10. I never will debate your top 10. The only question I always ask, and a lot of people will hear me ask it on my show, is what's your criteria? How did you get to that list? Right. And what
if I had Brian Scalabrine in my top 10?
What'd you say? What'd you say, Tperfect?
What if I had Brian Scalabrine in my top 10? Would you take issue with it?
Well, the only question I would ask you is the same question I ask everybody else. What criteria helped you come to? Well, I mean, what criteria can land Brian Scalabrine and Michael Jordan in the same list? If you can create that criteria, please go ahead.
That's
because there's no criteria that can.
I don't think I can do that.
But that's what I'm saying. There's no criteria that can sensibly come to that conclusion. If you have criteria, you don't. If you have a legitimate list, you don't pick your list. Your criteria does.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, and what's tough is I have like 3 pages of like shit that I use on like why Kobe is a top 10 player thing, but it's tough because I had to throw those out really when you're actually trying to get someone's actual. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you had more information. That's what I'm saying. It was a tough debate because you had to use. If you didn't have to use his criteria, I know you had shit in the bag.
But if you argue a top 10 for Kobe and you don't use word for word that you just used today, I'm disappointed.
Yep,
because
but
I believe you might have changed some people's minds today who had Kobe outside the top 10. Oh, Kobe top 10.
Let's make something clear.
Thanks, John.
Let's make something clear. Travis has great information. He's always going to come with the facts. My biggest issue with this entire conversation is something that I've been saying since I've been up here. And since we've been started talking about Kobe Bryant. When he was alive, they were not ranking him in the top 10. And then it was all of a sudden he's in the top 10 when he passes. I didn't like that. Then I also don't like the fact that all of a sudden, being a sidekick or sitting here being the second option on a team shouldn't hurt you, but let's all be intellectually honest up here. If you are ever the second option and you're not the guy from the beginning, you can't be in the top 10. That has always been in the basketball in the basketball world. That has always been in the basketball talk. So to sit here and point out, well, when Magic got there, I kind of like the argument about Magic, but we knew Magic was the future. Shaq was brought there to be the guy. Do you see the point? That's my point. That's the difference between Magic and Kobe when it comes to that argument. Kobe was backing up Eddie Jones. Shaq wasn't coming there to do anything but be the guy.
Definitely wasn't coming off the bench after Elder Campbell.
That's what I'm saying. So it's hard. It's hard because I feel like we're trying to switch up the argument for this one specific player, and there's no consistency. It's the hypocrisy for me. That's what I don't like. I will never sit here and say Kobe Bryant's not a great player. He is absolutely a great player. But if we're going to be consistent and we're going to treat him like we treat everyone else, he's not top 10.
Hey, Lamont, I just got one question.
Yo.
In your top 20, do you have any New York Knicks in your top 20?
Let me pull it up. I can. So I got 11 through 20.
It's my ass, John.
I don't ever put them in any specific order. So I
actually want to hear this.
So this is not in no specific order. I could probably put it in an order if I really needed to.
Maybe Willis.
Obviously, I got Kobe in 11 through 20. Bob Cousy, he's in 11 through 20. Karl Malone, Kevin Durant, Hakeem Olajuwon, Scottie Pippen, Moses Malone, Oscar Robinson. Who else do I have?
Dirk.
Yeah, I got Dirk as well. Dirk as well. Did I say Bob Pettit?
No,
not yet.
Yeah, Bob Pettit's toward the bottom of that, but I got Bob Pettit as well because of what he was able to do.
Twin man. I'm sorry, Twin man. He doesn't have
you just jerk, John.
So
you jerk, John. You just like messing with me for my neck.
But the guys that are closer to the guys that are closer to like 11 through like Moses Malone, Oscar, they're gonna be up there. They check more boxes. Kobe's kind of up there as well. He's in that like 11 through 15 range.
Hakeem not top 10 is wild to me. Wild.
Hakeem doesn't check the boxes. I mean, outside of winning, he doesn't check the boxes.
Just as longevity is Patrick Ewing in front of Carmelo. Just on longevity
as a Nick.
Just as a Nick.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pat got 2
I don't know how to rank that.
Even though he was hurt in 99. I mean,
yeah, I know it's tough. It's tough. I'm just saying, if you want to say a New York Knicks player, Carmelo played for them, 3-4 years?
I would give it to Ewing because of the winning.
Yeah.
But I think the winning was more like not just they just won more. They were competitive more years. That's where I would give it to Ewing. But
Ewing, I think, can you say he's a little bit underrated? I mean, I obviously didn't win chips, but he was one of the better defensive players ever, right?
Ewing is overrated.
He's overrated.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hey, Twin man, you want to ask if any Chicago Bulls is in the top 10? You don't know.
Shut up, John.
I'm just checking. I mean,
none that I can think of.
Because of your top 10, I bet you it was.
I've watched the Wizards as Michael Jordan top 10.
Let's make something clear. If I'm being biased, Patrick Ewing's the GOAT.
Lamont, I want to get your opinion on this, Lamont.
Yeah.
Lamont, obviously, I'm of the. I like that you sent me the thing that said Jordan's the GOAT until LeBron retires, and I agree with you. I think that LeBron's the GOAT. Obviously, but would you say here that just accolades wise, right? Accolades wise, obviously, we're not debating the LeBron thing. I think I've come around, but would you say that Mike has, even taking the scoring titles away, would you say that he has the most balanced resume of all time? Especially if you look at the ratio to which he won his All NBAs, he has all defensive teams. He has the second most league MVPs, tied for second, really. The most Finals MVPs, most all team, first teams, all in defensive selections, all NBA. Would you say he has the most balanced accolades title of all time, or accolades resume?
Over Kareem.
What do you mean balanced? Like just
Now, as far as he checks, he's at the top or near the top of every voted on award, right? That you can probably get. I get Kareem has 6, but he also only has the 2 Finals MVPs, right? And he has the 11 all defensive. But Mike has more first team all selections. Would you say that that's the most balanced?
I mean, if you use the most voted on, I guess across all categories, maybe, probably, I guess. I mean, what is that like? Does that boost him, or like what is it like? I'm trying to figure out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I boost him. I have him at 2, but obviously, I think I have LeBron as the GOAT. But to me, yeah, that's a big part of why Mike's up there is because when you're talking about just the sheer amassing of those awards, I think that obviously you could say Kareem too. That I won't be mad, but I think it's almost second to none.
I think with my top 5, so you're dealing with 5 guys that check all the check marks. So now we have to start so when we go to winning, so I have championships and significant winning.
Yeah.
I mean, if we go to championships and significant winning, like for example, if we're just using the traditional LeBron and Jordan, well, if you go to championships and significant winning, that's going to go to LeBron. I mean, because LeBron has the championships and he has more significant winning. All right. That's primarily due to longevity, but he just has more. So now we have to start getting real finicky. Like if you go to impact on the game, they both impacted the game. I think they're equal there on how they changed the game. And then when you go to dominance over your decade, I think they were both dominant over their decades. I think they're equal there. But I think when it comes to being the GOAT at something, well, LeBron James is the greatest scorer. He's the leading scorer in all NBA history, and he's the greatest small forward in NBA history. I mean, it's 2 things he checks right there. And Michael Jordan, what we can say is he's the greatest shooting guard in NBA history. So I think LeBron kind of edges him out there. Jordan beats him out in MVPs by 1. So they both check all the boxes. So then you have to start kind of getting – that's why I say my top 5, you can – a lot of people are going to have those names, but in different orders.
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to compare just the 2 of them directly. I already agree. I think LeBron's the GOAT simply because his consistency puts him over Michael Jordan. Because when you literally double their prime years and you still have your prime numbers going, I don't care what the context is behind that, or if you're not like an all defensive pro. Like if you're still putting up prime numbers from when you were 28 and your shooting splits are better, then you're the GOAT. But I mean, what I was talking about really was just like the accolades portion of it. But no, I agree.
I don't like a lot of the accolades because I think a lot of these accolades to me, I mean, I get it, but again, when we're dealing with so many accolades, like you said, that are voted on, it gets messier and messier. I think the easiest one to use is MVPs because it's the hardest one to win. But I think when you start dealing with all NBA teams, which is kind of finicky across eras, and I'd rather talk about just DPOYs as opposed to your all defensive teams, because I just think that voting gets too finicky.
The only reason I disagree with that is because you can have a flash in the pan, right? Like you can have players who aren't consistently great defensively, or their careers are much shorter, or something like that. And but then you have players who are maybe they don't win a DPOY, but they're consistently first, second team all the way through. Like Kobe never won a DPOY, right? But he has 12, and like same thing with Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan never won a DPOY. I think he was robbed several years, but he's unquestionably a top 10 all-time defender, but he doesn't have a DPOY. I mean, ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think what happens with players like Tim Duncan is
he was competing with
I don't think
Ben
Tim Duncan.
Wallace,
I don't think he needed that. Like, obviously, the DPOYs will make it better, but when you think of Tim Duncan, like if we're looking at Tim Duncan's resume 100 years from now, right? They're gonna look at his stat line and they're gonna be like, okay, damn, his stat line don't look like Jordan's or nothing like that. What else was he doing on the basketball court? Right. I think when they dive into it, they'll just see, defensively, he dominance over his decade, a lot because of his defense. Dominant. I mean, you have to start diving into the things, and like with Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen should have.
No, believe me, I have Tim Duncan at 4, so I'm not.
No, I get it, but what I'm saying is, it's just hard for me.
This is my only problem with
it's hard for me to throw and vote it on awards too many of them because it makes it mucked up. Because I don't know, man.
This is my only problem with your criteria, Lamont, is the MVPs, because we already know there's several players, even in the top 10, who should have way more MVPs. We know Jordan should have way more MVPs. I even agree with y'all. Kobe should have way more MVPs. We know LeBron should have way more MVPs. But I understand why you use it as a separator, because it's really hard to get it. But it's also kind of like DPOY. We already know LeBron should have a DPOY. We know that. It's just, I think there's too many agendas in the media to try at one point to keep one player on top. And instead of actually judging players on the merit of their game, they're sitting here trying to be gatekeepers for the past too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think where it gets tricky with that, Twin Man, is this. And like if let's say, for example, if we framed it with that particular logic, like if we started framing it with we know that he should have more MVPs by default, that means you're taking an MVP away from someone else, trying to credit it to another player. If we actually did that to Kobe, he don't even have the year Kobe won MVP. It was arguable if he was the best player, if he was the league MVP that year. So it'll retroactively, if we actually do that, it could probably do more harm to Kobe than good, because there were so many good players that he played with in his era, and because it was so controversial who was the actual MVP or not in certain years. So like I say, you can't have it both ways. You can't try to credit him with things he didn't award, because if we do that with LeBron might snatch one of Kobe's MVPs, which the year Kobe won it, LeBron has a very strong case to snatch that MVP from Kobe.
And one of the main reasons why.
Or if we do that, that means we give Shaq more MVPs.
Right? I was just getting ready to say that.
Then all that'll do is boost Shaq even higher over Kobe. Like, it's still gonna, if we do it that way, it's still gonna hurt Kobe. Like, it might do more harm than good if we start doing that. So just give him credit for the one and just leave it as it is.
Yeah, Shaq got robbed in 2000. But one of the main reasons why Kobe won that one MVP is because I think it was between him and Chris Paul, and that towards the end of that season, it was down to New Orleans and the Lakers. Whoever won that game won the MVP.
Last game of the season, and Kobe won.
Yeah, and also, do we overrate the Finals MVP a little bit, because there's players that won this award.
Of course, it's a 4 to 7 game series. It's a 4 to 7 game series.
Tony Parker wasn't the best player on the Spurs when he won it. I say was Chauncey Billups the best player on Detroit when he won?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Chauncey
she wasn't.
I won't argue. We know Iguodala.
I'm gonna be honest. This is when the Finals MVP started to become diluted. When they started giving it to players. When they started giving it to players to try to spite another player. Like, I'm sorry, Steph Curry should have been the Finals MVP and not Andre. That's ridiculous. They did that to literally spite another player on the opposite team. Like, that's ridiculous.
I don't think it was spite. I just think that it's an impact award, and at the end of the day, it's a small sample size award. I think it's overvalued. Like, that's why I don't include it, because if Andre Iguodala can win it, then how is it an award that's
the problem is not
in this pristine of an MVP?
It's not.
Iguodala, I don't care how.
Well, the reason it becomes valuable is when it's consistently won. Like obviously, you're right. There's a lot of occasions where
Kobe didn't consistently win Finals MVPs.
Should LeBron have won that Finals MVP?
Which one?
2015.
Which one?
like Jerry West won the first Final MVP, and they lost.
Oh yeah, that was
they were never the best player in the series, but
I'm gonna be honest. It was precedent for it to happen, but you already know if they'd have gave LeBron that Finals MVP in the loss, what would have happened? I think the NBA, the ratings in the NBA would have cratered.
No, they wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't.
I think
it would have been an ultimate bad guy. More of a.
It would have been something in LeBron's pocket.
So wait, Brandon, did you hear the debate?
It would have been Brandon.
Yeah. I heard the debate. For me, Travis made a good enough argument to literally move Steph or Shaq out.
Yes, that's what I said.
From what he was saying. So if we're just talking about should Kobe have been in the top 10, from his argument, yes. I know we're talking about that Kobe changed the game. Like Kobe, we saw the Olympics, how he made all of those superstars work harder. Kobe's work ethic, that was great. Kobe's skill, they say the greatest skill player of all time. Like he's the GOAT in a lot of things. Kobe, like I said, it's hard for me.
How did he change the way the game was played basketball? It should be.
I mean, look at the players. Look. Like Lamont, I heard your arguments before about the 90 players, how they didn't take things seriously. They had a lockout and people come back 50 to 60 pounds overweight because they didn't keep their stuff in shape. Look at Kobe Bryant. He was one of the catalysts of making sure those players stayed great.
That's not. If you look at how I defined it.
Yeah. To me, just to me, that's how I feel it.
So, according to my criteria, it's tactically or strategically. How did he tactically or strategically, for example, with rule changes, right? Because you were so great, for example, you were so great that they have to widen the free throw lanes. You're so great that they have to change rules. You're so great that it completely changes how teams draft players and defend and do all those things. Like Shaquille O'Neal's dominance almost single-handedly brought back the 2-3 zone. Almost single-handedly. Like that's credited to Shaquille O'Neal. Like give me one example of that.
Yeah, one thing is credited to Kobe is making sure these players work out year round and be able to play longer.
That's a cultural impact.
That's what I see. Like just like you were saying, how they draft certain players, like he made sure these players are in tip top shape and play longer. Kobe did.
Jordan didn't do that.
Kobe did this.
LeBron didn't do that.
No, Kobe.
I think that's a mucky. That's not a strategical.
That is very strategical because you see these players are more in shape, better. Like Kobe did this.
They're not in more in shape.
Kobe they're better shape. Kobe changed their mindset. Kobe changed their mindset.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
You
can hear him talk.
I love
you hear
Kobe,
these players talk. They
changed
it. You hear these players talk. He did that. Kobe did that.
Okay. I mean, if you want to give him that, I just don't give him that. That's not.
No, I'm just saying what the players did. Like I thought the players would do it on their own, but they're the ones that's saying this.
I mean, just because you can find 5 players that say it, don't mean it had a overall impact on the entire game. I'm talking about we have 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teams completely changing their style of play because of Steph Curry. In U.S., Africa, China, the whole world. It's not just a handful of players somewhere, right? Strategically, the way you draft players, right? Being it a requirement that you have to be able to shoot the 3 at almost all 5 possessions. Because of Steph Curry, how you defend pick and rolls. It's completely been changed because of Steph.
Yes, and they say the same thing about Kobe.
What? Okay,
about
how he within the game
better players.
We're not talking about
those stars.
That's off
that went down. We hear that Mamba mentality all the time. That's on the court. That's in off season. Kobe's done this. Kobe has done this. These players have said
X's and O's base change.
These players have said this.
Okay, give me not a cultural change, a X's and O's base impact.
There is no
where the league had to change rules.
There's no thing about that. Just like Michael Jordan, like What rules did Jordan change? X and O's.
Here, I have it written down.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Jordan's impact on the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
They changed defensive rules, right? Because of Jordan. Whether we like it or not, the flagrant foul.
Okay.
Did Jordan's play influence how the flagrant foul rules were called? Flagrant fouls were called. Yes. Did Jordan's play influence the potential illegal defenses, whether it stays or whether it comes and goes? Jordan had a lot to do with some of the rule changes, whether they did or didn't happen. He had a significant impact on how the game was played. Whether we like it, whether it's to the good or bad, he influenced how the game was played when in the 90s. Influenced.
Yeah, okay, Jordan. So you're influenced the X and O's because they made the game not as rough, not as hard. You have to be more like skilled.
It doesn't matter. Your emotional feelings about the rule changes is separate from the actual change. Did they make changes
that's not
that are credited to Michael Jordan? Yes,
a significant change like Wilt and Shaq. That is just something.
I'm not saying it was significant.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Just like you're trying to downgrade what Kobe did. You're saying you're trying to downgrade what Kobe did. Like,
how did I downgrade?
All these star players are saying about Kobe Bryant.
How did I?
These star players are saying this.
Okay, so even if we give Kobe that box,
yeah, we have to give. Okay, we have to. You cannot dismiss that.
Let's pretend that lifting a weight and curling some dumbbells was the tactical.
That is not just what Kobe did, but okay, let's pretend like that's just what he did.
Change.
But yeah, that's not what he did.
Okay, so out of my criteria, he has one MVP. How do you bump him up in MVPs?
I'm not bumping him up.
Okay, is he the GOAT of anything?
Is he the
best of anything?
Is he the best of all time scoring of all shooting guards? What about that?
No, he's not the best scorer because Jordan is.
Kobe has more points than Jordan. So Kobe has more assists than Jordan. Kobe has more rebounds than Jordan.
Hey, who's the greatest shooting guard of all time, y'all, on this panel?
It's Jordan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, is he the GOAT of anything?
Just like Duncan isn't the like goal.
We don't categorize.
I'm just saying. Kobe, if Kobe has something over all shooting guards, Kobe has something over all shooting.
We don't categorize stats by position. Yeah. We categorize them versus.
But still, Kobe has something over all shooting guards.
Are you the greatest scorer of all time?
You cannot dismiss what Kobe has over all shooting guards. So he's the GOAT of.
Okay, but this is not a shooting guard conversation. This is an all-player conversation.
He's a GOAT of some as shooting guard.
What is he the GOAT of? What is he the GOAT of?
The most points for any shooting guard.
That's not the GOAT of nothing. That's a position.
Guard, actually.
We're talking about all players in NBA history. What is he the GOAT of?
I mean, what does Shaq have?
Is he the greatest shooter?
What is Bill Russell?
I'm just saying.
Bill Russell's arguably the greatest defender of all time.
I'm not saying that he's knocking over everything, but I'm saying he's doing more than the other players that you put ahead of, like Shaq and Curry. He's doing more than those players like Shaq and Curry. That's what I'm saying.
Kobe any higher.
You should knock those two down and put Kobe ahead of those.
First of all, if we go to Steph Curry, how do we take away the fact that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time? How do we uncheck that box for Curry?
What is the greatest? That's not really a thing.
That isn't what I'm talking about.
He has the most 3-pointers made of all time. He has the most 3-pointers made of all time.
What do you mean that's not a thing?
Yeah, how is that a thing? People say that, but that doesn't mean
on the panel, y'all. Who's the greatest shooter of all time?
Steph Curry. Before Steph Curry.
How is it not a thing?
Saying, you cannot define that other than saying he has the most 3-pointers of all time. That's how you define it.
Ray Allen before Ray Allen was Reggie Miller, before Reggie Miller was Larry Bird.
Talking about 3-pointers, this is what I'm saying. You're only talking about 3 points. He's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time.
Talk about shooters.
He's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time.
Even if you go to 3-point shooting, he's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time.
How do you define shooting? No. Explain to me how you define shooting.
Okay, even if
just explain it to me. How you define shooting?
So even if you take away greatest shooter of all time, he's still the
greatest. No, we're not taking it away because you say he is.
He's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. You don't want to say he's the greatest shooter.
No, you're laughing at me like I'm making up something. Define the greatest shooter of all time. I just want to hear it.
You have to.
No, I literally want to hear your definition of why he's the greatest shooter of all time.
You have to literally play dumb to get this argument off.
No, explain to me. I don't have to play dumb. You need to explain it to me then.
If you don't think Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time, you're playing dumb, Brandon.
No, explain it to me so I will understand.
Okay, he's the greatest shooter of all time. He's the greatest shooter. He's the greatest. He's the greatest shooter because of versatility, how he gets his shots off from the 3-point line. Obviously, he's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. Even once you go to the mid range, we can pull up every percentage that we want. We can. Do you want to have a Steph Curry debate? Do you really debate that? We can do that debate.
I just want to hear why he's the greatest shooter of all time.
We'll reserve this for a debate.
Because outside of the 3-point line, Durant is better than Steph Curry outside of the 3-point line.
How about we reserve that for
outside of the 3-point line? Kevin Durant is
I'm not
better
going
than
to talk
Steph
about
Curry.
it. We'll debate that.
Oh, because you cannot. That's why you cannot.
Okay, hold on, Brandon. I got 500. We can bet $500.
I don't care what you want to bet because you cannot. You cannot say that Kevin Durant is not better inside the 3-point line than Steph Curry.
Who is a better shooter than Steph Curry?
You just cannot.
Name a better shooter than Steph Curry.
Kevin Durant could definitely be in that conversation.
That's
why I said Steph Curry is the greatest.
Name a better shooter than Steph Curry.
Kevin Durant is a better shooter all over the floor than Steph Curry outside of the 3-point line. That's why I said you cannot say Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time because you cannot define that. You cannot even make an argument for it.
How are you defining that?
Percentage inside of the 3-point line.
You don't even know the percentages, Brandon.
I know it's higher than Steph Curry.
Oh my God, man! Come on, Brandon, man. You got.
I don't even know what's so funny about it.
Okay. So who's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time?
I said it's Steph Curry. That's why I say he's the greatest.
Okay, so is Steph the greatest at something? So hold on, Brandon.
That's what I was saying earlier. You cannot say
hold on, Brandon. The list is about being the greatest at something. Is Steph the greatest at something?
Yes, he is.
Okay, he checks that category. What is Kobe the greatest at? Okay, so what is Kobe the greatest at?
Greatest of all time over everybody? Nothing.
Yes. Okay, he don't check the box. That's 2 boxes unchecked. So again, we can keep going down the line.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that Kobe is and he checks all the boxes. I'm saying that Kobe's checks more boxes than Steph and Shaq.
Okay, so what boxes of my creator does Kobe check again?
Say him again.
Okay, championship and significant winning.
Okay.
He checks that.
Yeah, we all agree there. He's a winner. Check box.
Over Steph.
Okay. Is he MVPs?
I mean, MVPs, if you want to include that, yes, but
MVPs. No, that's my criteria.
I'm just saying, like that's
does he check the box on
MVP in a criteria? But yeah, that's Steph.
Does he check the box on MVPs?
I'm just saying, yes. Steph. I'm talking about Kobe. No. Other than Shaq,
is he the GOAT of anything?
He's with Shaq.
Is he the GOAT of anything?
According to you, he is not the GOAT of anything.
According to you, this is your
according to you, he is not the GOAT over everybody, anything. So no, he's not.
For you though, this is not for me.
So no, he's not.
Okay, decade level dominance. Was he dominant within his decade?
Of course.
I agree that.
Yes.
I gave him that same check mark right there.
Well, that's 2-2.
So this is how, at least how I defined it. I'll read exactly how I worded it in my thesis paper.
Okay.
Just so you can get a better understanding of.
No, I'm just saying that's
the other one where
two for Curry and 1 for Shaq.
The other one where we differ is impact on how the game is played, and I put on my thesis paper. I specifically put incredible skill sets, but didn't refine how the game is played, like a Curry, a Magic, a Shaquille O'Neal, and I went in, and I'm not going to read the whole section where I literally defined it, but that was one of the summaries. Then I also put closely mirrored Jordan's style, but it was not transformational. And those were the 2 bullet points that I had underneath that for Kobe. All right, when you talk about impact on how the game was played, I do not feel like Kobe Bryant was one of the most talented players in NBA history that we've ever seen, but I don't feel like his style was transformational because he just copied everything Jordan did, and his skill set was great. Just like you said, players like to train like him, but I don't think it changed how the game was played or had an impact on how teams approached or played the game.
Okay, so
it might have changed how somebody went in the weight room and curled a few more times.
Yeah. So from my understanding, Steph checks. You could say 3. Kobe checks 3. Shaq checks 2. Like I said, you could move.
No. Kobe checks 2 boxes
above Steph because
Kobe checks 2 boxes.
Kobe, Steph checks 3. Shaq checks 2. So Kobe should be in that top 10.
Kobe checks 2 boxes, man.
All right,
You literally have to make stuff up to give him a third
I
check
didn't make anything up.
You did.
Kind of hard.
No, I don't.
You're saying that Kobe's game is transfer. He copied Jordan. How are you transformational when all you did was copy Jordan?
I mean, you can say
his
that.
whole identity was built around copying Jordan. How is it transformational? How did it have an impact on anything when he just copycatted Jordan?
B. Lee.
The work ethic he copied from Jordan. The way he copied from Jordan.
How great someone is. Kobe was great.
All of that he copied from Jordan. How can it be? Why are you crediting Kobe with the things Jordan did first?
I'm crediting what Kobe did on the court. What Kobe did on the court puts him top 10 in that criteria.
How did Kobe change the game on the court? The way the game was played.
Kobe changed the game for players on the court that changed their games.
More Achilles injuries.
B. Lee, honestly, I feel like you're stretching this, bro, because he specifically said change the game. Kobe didn't change.
He up there changing
Mamba mentality. What Kobe did.
What does that mean?
Have players follow. Have players follow his lead. Players are still doing it today. Players are still doing it today. He's still changing.
What, training harder? How did they change the rules? He literally specifically said they changed rules.
I mean, Jordan didn't change any significant rules, so it's fine.
Lamont, whose name do they?
It's fine.
Lamont, whose name do they call out when we throw trash away, dude? Like,
I mean,
really?
I don't.
Really?
That's cultural. That's not on the court.
Kobe should be ahead of Curry and Shaq in that criteria.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you feel that way. He just does not check the box and the criteria necessary.
He checks those boxes. That's why
he does.
He checks 3. Curry checks 3, and Shaq checks 2.
You literally have to use your imagination to create a
There's
way.
No
to
imagination. There's no imagination.
That's what you're doing. You really are. You try so hard.
I'm following their lead. I'm following their lead. That's what I'm doing. That's what they said. And that's what I'm giving it to them.
You are trying so hard, bro. The argument's excellent, but you know that's not what
when I go to Tim Duncan,
I cannot listen to Dwayne Wade and tell me that I'm lying. When those star players,
when I go to Tim Duncan on my list, you know what I have? I put under impact on the game, didn't shift how the game was played. Does that mean Tim Duncan was not great? Tim Duncan was good as hell. He's the GOAT power forward. I have him having a decade of dominance, 2 MVPs, 5-time champion, but under that check mark on impact the game, I can't use my imagination and stretch ways to try to pretend as if he changed the game. He didn't. He did not have a significant impact on how the game was played or if there was any significant rule changes or anything like that. It just did. But he's still great. He just doesn't check the box. It's the same with Kobe. If you don't check the box, I just cannot make up check marks to give it to you.
I mean, you don't have to make up anything because I'm using what the players are saying, just like you're using.
That's not changing the game. That's
all I'm saying. You're using me once as MVPs, and we all know that's BS.
Hey, hold on. So that means did Hakeem change the game with his footwork and his footwork training in Houston?
And like the 90s,
because if you go to training, Kobe got his training from Hakeem, so we can't even give the training to Kobe because he got that from Hakeem.
I mean, he got some of it, just like Jordan got some of his stuff from Dr. J. That don't mean nothing. I mean, players gonna learn stuff.
Now it don't mean nothing.
I mean, players gonna learn stuff and they gonna improve on it.
But so you're killing your own argument. You're killing your own argument. You just killed your own argument.
Gentlemen, I'm going to leave you too. I'm going to grab something to eat, but excellent conversation. I'll let you guys do it.
You said what?
I'm going to slide out, guys, and get something to eat, but you guys keep at it. Thank you, Lamont, for the debate.
So, B. Lee, you just killed your own argument. Later, Travis. You just killed your own argument. I'm explaining you how. Give me a second. You just sat here and said none of that stuff that Lamont just says matters, but what Kobe did and what players are saying about him matters?
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything.
You just said it.
It didn't matter.
You just said it. You just said it. You literally he sat here and explained how Kobe got his footwork, some of that from Kareem, not Kareem, Hakeem, and how players get stuff from Hakeem, and you said that don't matter. You literally just said that.
I was probably talking about something else, but the only thing I said
No, you
is
wasn't.
Kobe.
No, you wasn't.
I said what I said was Kobe took it and he got better with it. Just like Jordan took what Dr. J got and got better with it. So he just got better with it. That's all.
But hold up. Lamont has a point. You have big men in the game today who go train with Kareem, not Kareem. I keep saying Kareem, who go train with Hakeem Olajuwon and work on their footwork. Is that changing the game?
I mean, for those players, I don't know who those players are.
That would be no. You can say no. You can say no. Or is that changing how they're being guarded? Is that changing how defenses is ran because they're going to get work? They're going to work with Dream. No, and you know it's not. So how the hell are you trying to use Kobe Bryant's training regimen and players saying Kobe Bryant's training regimen is so rigorous and great? Just changing the game. You know that's not what he said. And then you dismissed what Hakeem Olajuwon did, and now you sat here and said that don't matter, but what Kobe did matter?
Meant anything Hakeem did. I just do not hear players say that no more. That's all.
Nah, Beasley. I do
hear Kobe though. I do hear Kobe all the time.
We just heard of Gilbert Arenas was getting on. They were just talking about Hakeem Olajuwon's training just not too long ago. It went viral.
Yeah.
Hakeem's training is otherworldly. Jason Tatum went. I mean, there's a ton of NBA players. Like training is training. That's not changing the game.
What I hear Jason Tatum talk about is Kobe all the time.
But hold on. No. I can't let you run. I can't let you run away from this, B-Lee.
I'm listening.
How are you dismissing what Dream's been doing now for decades, like more than a decade now, with players? By that logic, Hakeem Olajuwon is definitely top 10 because he changed the game with his training.
Kobe checks a lot more than Hakeem, so that's all that matters.
How? If we're going by Lamont's criteria, gave him his decade of dominance. He gave him his decade of dominance. He gave him winning. Nothing else is checked.
He doesn't have a decade of dominance. Next.
Who doesn't have a decade of dominance?
Doesn't have a decade of dominance.
No, I don't. Hold on.
I'm talking about in Lamont's top 10, the players that Lamont has in his top 10, they check off more boxes. You were talking about Shaq and Steph. Steph has a decade of dominance. Steph has significant winning. Steph has championships. Steph has MVPs.
Okay. And
he changed the game.
Kobe should be above Steph still, and Shaq.
How?
That goes against
based off Lamont's criteria.
Yeah, based off Lamont's criteria, Steph should be jumps above Steph and Shaq.
How?
No, Kobe only checks 2 boxes.
He checks more boxes. He checks 3 boxes. Steph checks 3, but Kobe's 3 is better than Steph.
2 significant winning and a decade of dominance. That's it.
And he changed the game.
No, he did not change the
game. He changed the game for all these NBA stars, and that's what they say.
That's what they say. So by that logic, again, how did they change rules?
I'm going to listen to
Lamont used was rules, B-Lee. What rules were changed?
Wait, man. I'm going to listen to NBA stars.
What Lamont said rules. What rules did they change for Kobe Bryant on the basketball court?
It's just changed the game. Now it's just rules. It's just rules, right? Or this is just change the
rules. He said rules.
Do you want me to read the category for you?
Lamont said rules.
Okay, what are rules in shooting more threes? What
I'm saying is changing how the game was played.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, so let me read the whole category for you because there's a lot of different things that you can do to meet that criteria. Let me just read the criteria so you get a better understanding of what at least I'm talking about. So it says the criteria that I put in my thesis paper was impact on how the game is played. Not just rewarding highlights. It's rewarding evolution. Did this player change the sport? Not culturally, but strategically and tactically. Some examples: Steph Curry made defenses guard 30 feet out with his shooting, and it changed how teams approach defense. Shaq, he broke the paint and broke the rules single-handedly, almost single-handedly influenced the zone coverages brought back into the NBA and the 3-second rule. Magic Johnson redefined what a point guard could be, completely redefined the point guard position at 6'7". Russ and Wilt literally caused rule changes. We all talked about the block shots. When Bill Russell first blocked the shot, it almost stopped play single-handedly. Everybody looked around, said, what the hell are you doing? They didn't even know what to do when he blocked the shot for the first time. He just snatched it out there and kept going. Wilt widening the free throw lines. What wasn't it Wilt? I forgot which player it was. Wasn't it Wilt just dunking from the free throw line? You know?
Yep.
So at the end of the day, you know, when you got a player, he just dunking the free throws, you're changing rules. You can't do that. Like, it's too easy. Like, you're influencing how the game overall is played. Like, what you're doing is so great that it's completely making everybody rethink how the game of basketball should be played.
Man, that's
so now that context is given, he literally sat here and said it's not culturally. Because if it's culturally, you're 100% right, B-Lee. What do they do on the basketball court?
That's no coach. Just like Magic Johnson changed the game for a point guard by, I don't know,
being a 6'7" point guard. Being a 6'7" point guard.
I don't know what that means. He changed the game for point guard. I don't know what that means, but I know what the NBA stars told me about Kobe. I know
this is ridiculous. When did we ever see a 6'7" point guard until Magic came in the league?
I mean, Oscar was 6'5".
That's not 6'7".
That was tall in his time.
That's not 6'7".
Magic was a small forward as a rookie.
His time. Oscar was tall in his time.
They traded away an all-star point guard just to put Magic at the point.
You fighting so hard, bro. He doesn't check the box.
Magic could change the game for point guards. Kobe Bryant could change the game for NBA players.
How? How did he change the game on the court?
That's what they did. They had to prepare. He changed the way players prepare.
So because individual players train like Kobe Bryant, that means the whole NBA
all players are training in the offseason. In the 90s, they didn't train. They didn't even pick up a weight. Michael Jordan didn't lift a weight till he was 28.
That's the 90s. Like, we're talking about what Kobe Bryant did.
I know. That's why Kobe Bryant had to change. Like, look at him and Shaq. They beefed all the time.
We're talking about training. What does that mean on the court? How did X's and O's change because of the training?
Have that model mentality like Jordan, like Kobe did.
How did X's and O's on the court change because of the training? Explain that part.
Of course, just like the point guard.
Don't move from that part right there. Explain from that part right there.
If Magic changed point guards because he's a certain height, I mean, come on now. What about changing the game for all players like Kobe did?
Okay,
Kobe didn't change the game for all players. Not everybody's mimicking Kobe Bryant.
Magic Johnson changed the game because of his height. That's not X's and O's. Kobe Bryant.
Yes, it is. Because they had to change defenses to guard Magic Johnson. Did they have to change defenses because of Kobe Bryant's training?
They had to train defenses to actually be able to guard these players.
They had to put power forwards on Magic at the point guard
after 5 years.
It completely changed how teams defended.
Exactly.
They completely changed.
Did people have to train? Hold on. Did people have to change up defenses because of Kobe Bryant's training?
You have to change your whole outlook on defenses.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know that's bullshit. You're stretching. You're reaching. Your nickname is Stretch Armstrong right now.
After 12 years, players are done, but not since
B-Lee, your new nickname is Stretch Armstrong, Mr. Fantastic and Plastic Man for how far you are trying to reach.
Can I read what one of the students put here?
Their mentality. Kobe
one of the students put right here. So the funny thing is,
but again, there are several players that go train with all-time greats to get the knowledge that they brought to the game. That doesn't mean it changes what happens on the court.
It does, but they all talk about Kobe. They all talk about
Twin. Let me read this. Let me read this for y'all right here. Because there's one of the students who commented on the thesis. He created an addendum. And his addendum says Kobe didn't create a new basketball blueprint. It says stars like Tatum, Booker, Kyrie say they train like Kobe, not that they play like Kobe. It says he made Jordan's ISO mid-range game look beautiful, but the style was already declining in the analytics era. It says coaches did not change team strategy because of Kobe. They just feared his skill within the existing system. So when you talk about changing the game, it's just like what Twin is saying. Teams definitely feared Kobe because of how good he was, but he did not change anything. He did not redefine or change the outlook. There were players that mimicked his training, but these players don't play like Kobe. Like they just mimicked his training. So even the players that speak highly or train like Kobe, they don't even play like Kobe. Kyrie does not play like Kobe. Tatum doesn't play like Kobe. Right? Booker doesn't play like Kobe.
They got the mama mentality.
Let's be clear.
And if you want to go with mama mentality, unfortunately, that's too cultural.
Stretch Armstrong, Plastic Man, and Fantastic B-League is stretching right now. He is grasping at every straw in the world to get him a check the box that he don't check. He don't check the box, B-League.
He checks it. He checks it. He
absolutely don't. You say because you're a fan. Does not check beyond basketball. He did not change how basketball is played. He did not change X's and O's on the court.
The off season. That means basketball. He changed that.
Yes. One question. Yeah. Did Kobe make the NBA evolve?
No.
What do you mean by that? Like evolve how?
Okay, so every time we talk about the game evolving at some point in time, is because, especially if it's attributed to a player, is because that player was so great at something, it made the game evolve into like a new version of what the league had been before. So the game evolved. So when we talk about, like, obviously we saw how the game evolved because of Steph. We saw how the game evolved because of Shaq. We saw how the game evolved because of Magic and Bird. We saw how the game evolved because of Wilt and Bill Russell. How did the game evolve?
Hold on. How did the game evolve because of Magic and Bird?
Well, because both of those guys came in almost at the same time, and one of the most glaring things that shows to me was they were the faces of positionless basketball. Bird at the power forward spot was doing things that we had never seen power forwards do before. Positionless basketball, and he reinvigorated how important the three-point line can be. And then Magic Johnson, who came into the league as a small forward, right? They got rid of an all-star point guard just to move him to point guard because of how good he was and how dynamic it was, and how Pat Riley saw that if I put a 6'9" guy at the point guard, this is going to completely make life hell for the other team, who's now going to have matchup problems all over the court, trying to put an extra big in, trying to guard this 6'9" point guard. It's a matchup nightmare. And so we saw how both those guys, faces of the league, completely saved the NBA. Their play style, because what do we call that era? I mean, that era has its own play style. I mean, Magic with the Showtime, just that era in and of itself, the battles that they had, ridiculous pace. I mean, both those guys came in because of their positionless style of basketball. Like they might be the faces of positionless basketball.
That sounds like a lot of stuff guy for Kobe. I got you. I believe everything you said. Like how they approach the game.
When we moved to Kobe, how did Kobe evolve the game?
Same stuff as Magic and Bird, really?
A lot of things. Yeah, just a lot of things.
So how did Kobe evolve?
Absolutely not. Stop being a fan, bro.
Just like they
stop being a fan.
Just like you said.
I honestly want to hear the answer. Like, how did the game evolve because of Kobe?
I mean, evolve how players perform throughout their career, the tenacity, the mama mentality, everything.
Perfect.
Let me finish, twin, man. Let me finish, man.
Tenacity of a mama mentality.
Some bullshit, B-Lee. You know it. That's why you laughing.
Let me finish.
Bullshit. You laughing. You know it.
Y'all let me finish. Stop trying to make me laugh. Damn. I'm trying.
You know
I had something. Y'all. Okay, let me finish.
Hey, I can ask ChatGPT to help you, B-Lee.
I don't need ChatGPT this time because of Kobe's work ethic and his skill level. I mean, like I said before, these players wasn't doing what Kobe was doing.
They're still not. That's
still a cultural. Mama mentality is cultural. It's not.
It's just like Bird and Magic. How they changed how people look.
They literally changed the game with their play.
How players look.
Positionless basketball is not cultural. It's actually it actually impacts the X's and O's on the court.
That's all.
B-Lee, stop it, bro. Stop it. You know Kobe didn't change the game. Stop it.
You seen Kobe in China? Kobe has transferred a whole continent.
Sound like a delusional Jordan fan right now.
Hold on, B-Lee, let me ask you this right here.
Global impact
B-Lee, one question.
Kobe just constantly changing the game.
When we go to mama mentality, right? How did the mama mentality impact, for example, spacing, rules, defensive schemes, or offensive schemes?
It didn't.
I mean, you don't have to just like a 6'9" point guard. Like this would be all 6'9"
point guard. Hold on. I gotta say this. To meet the criteria, you have to. To meet the Lamont's criteria, you have to.
It's fine.
That's the whole point.
It doesn't
To
matter.
meet the criteria, you have to do that, and that's why I said it's bullshit saying right now, B.
He just did it. It doesn't really matter how he did it. We all know he did it.
No, he didn't, because you can't explain it.
I just explained it for like 30 minutes.
Sure didn't. You said people train like him. What did he fucking do? How did that change the game?
You chose to not understand what I'm saying. That's the issue with y'all.
Training like someone does not mean you changed how the game is played.
You guys need to listen better. That's all it is.
Hold on. So does that mean
So
Phil
I have
Handy?
excellent hearing.
Hold on.
Training like someone does not mean you change the game on the court.
Mean Phil Handy should get a check mark?
I mean, Kobe has a term stamped Mamba mentality. He has it stamped because it changed the way.
Did Mamba mentality change rules and strategic offensive plays or defensive plays on the basketball court, B. How did that term change anything in the NBA?
It's all over. It's everywhere. He checks so many boxes. He checks.
He does not. You just being a delusional fan right now, and
okay. He checks 3 just like Steph, but he checks more than Shaq.
He
sure doesn't. He sure doesn't.
He only checks 2, man. I'm sorry.
He sure doesn't, and you know he doesn't.
Hakeem only checks 1. Hakeem to me only checks 1. So he outdid Hakeem.
Yeah,
I think
to be honest, that like MVP shouldn't even be in this because that's just media.
I actually agree with that. I actually agree with that, but but this is his criteria.
This criteria. It's bad to put there, but it's fine.
Well, me personally, I actually think Kobe got a better case for top 10 than Elijah Wan and Bird. That's just me.
And was Bird in the top 10?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, because that's two who agrees he should be in the top 10. So Twin Man, you know he do as well. Travis thought the same.
I don't believe Kobe had a better career than Larry Bird.
Travis thought the same, but he checks more boxes.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Not than Larry Bird. No, we don't.
Larry Bird got more MVPs. Larry Bird
according to Lamont's criteria, no, he doesn't.
In MVPs, Kobe will be above Bird, right?
He still doesn't. No.
If you want more MVPs, it just gives him another check mark.
So
he still wouldn't be over Bird.
And so you have to win 2 MVPs?
No, he would.
First of all,
you have to have at least.
I think one should be good.
You have to have you can have 1 MVP and still check 4 of the boxes.
Yeah, so he checks the MVP. Okay, he checks it. So he has 4.
Who does he check it over?
I'm just saying he has 4 now. He checks the MVP. I didn't know he checked the MVP, so he has 4.
He does not have 4. What are you talking about?
He has 4 now. He checked the MVP.
In retrospect, what other than 2007 and 8, what other year did Kobe deserve MVP?
I mean,
if you say
I don't know, but at least he has 1, so he has 4 of the check marks. Yeah, he has 4.
No, he doesn't. He did not change the game. You're lying.
So he has 4.
I did not say Kobe does not check the MVP box.
You just said he checks it. I thought he has 4.
I just told you. Hold on. In my criteria, to get a check mark in the MVP box, you have to have at least 2. Right? Kobe only has 1. This is why Shaq doesn't have a check in the MVP area. This is why.
Hold
on. For example,
Hakeem, check, right?
Hakeem doesn't have it. Remember when I told you Hakeem only has 1 check mark? That's because of the championships. But Hakeem has an MVP. He didn't have a check mark there. He only has 1 check mark. Right? So again, I'm not crediting anybody. If you only have 1 MVP, from Dirk to KD, Hakeem.
Okay.
If you only have 1, there's no check mark.
Oh, okay. So you have to have 2. Okay, I didn't know that.
Gives you a check mark.
I thought you had 2. Don't you should have 3 at least? So, or just 2? Just 2.
No, 2 gets you a check mark.
Okay, 2 gets you a check mark. Did you just make that up?
No, he didn't.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. Did you just make that up right now because Kobe had 1? Because Kobe had 1. Did you add that just now because Kobe? Because is that?
No.
Hold on. I can show you on the screen. I can show you my list. I can show you.
I'm just saying, like, has it always been 2 or more? Did you?
Hold on. I can literally show you the screen.
Okay.
That way you can see it's not BS.
I'm just saying. I think
because if I share my screen with you, you will see that because I have. Remember when I said Pippen was 11 through 20, Pippen doesn't have a check mark by MVPs. Hakeem by his MVPs, he doesn't have a check mark.
You have an MVP, but it's cool.
KD doesn't have a check mark. Dirk doesn't have a check mark. Kobe doesn't have a check mark. One MVP is not enough.
Okay, so it has to be two. I didn't know you had to have two. I thought you had to have.
Bob Pettit has a check mark. He has 2 MVPs. Moses Malone 3.
Okay. So that's why Steph has a check mark. He has 2 MVPs.
Steph has a check mark there because he has 2 MVPs. Shaq doesn't. Shaq only has 1 MVP.
Lamont,
Larry Bird.
Okay, so
Larry Bird.
he doesn't have one. That's why Kobe's above Shaq still.
How? Steve Nash? Hold on. What would you rate Steve Nash with your criteria, Lamont? Because Nash helped change the game and he got 2 MVPs.
In my criteria, if I think I had Nash in my top 20.
I
had Nash in my top 25, but I don't have Nash in that pool in this pool of players. I don't think he checks the box on a lot of the criteria.
Well, he checks as much as Steph, right? Too.
No, as much as Kobe.
Well, hold on. So if we hypothetically go through it real quick, significant winning and a champion. I think Nash has significant winning, but he's not a champion.
Yeah, he ain't got the titles.
So I don't know if I would give him a check mark there. If you go to my next area of criteria, did he impact the way the game was played?
No.
Hard for me to give him that when it was more so. It was the offense.
7 seconds. That's 7 seconds. Yeah. Yes, that's definitely 7 seconds.
Hold on. The 7 seconds or less offense. A lot of people don't know this, but that offense existed before Nash.
Exactly. No, he doesn't.
Popularized in the NBA. So I wouldn't even want to say
you can't take that away from Nash.
I'm not taking nothing away from Nash.
He changed how the game is played.
Because so if we go to was he the face of a decade? I don't believe Nash was the face of a decade. I don't think he had a 10-year ring.
No, he definitely was for a decade. So he still has 2. Yeah, he still has 2.
It's all Nash. The only box that Nash would necessarily check for me would be the MVPs.
That's it.
MVPs,
and that's not enough to. That's not enough to crack the.
I mean, he's tied with Curry almost.
No, he's not.
He don't got the titles.
He ain't got the titles. He ain't got the significant winning, and he's the GOAT of nothing.
That's one category. He's
not the GOAT of anything. Hold on, he's not the GOAT of anything.
No, he's not.
He wasn't the face of a 10-year stretch.
No,
he wasn't. He didn't have a dominant 10-year run.
No, he did.
He might not even been the best player on the team.
If you want to say that he had a significant impact on the way the game was played, if you want to give him that, that's 1 check mark. That still only gives him 2 check marks. That barely puts him in the top 20.
Tied with Kobe.
That's why I said top 3.
Yeah, he's tied with Kobe.
No, Kobe has 3.
Kobe has 2. Kobe has 2. Let it go, B-Lee. Stretch Armstrong. Reaching. You are reaching to the moon.
But, it is what it is, man. Kobe's a hellified player, but, that's kind of what happens.
It sounds like I'm hating on Kobe. When we have these Kobe conversations, it makes it seem like I hate Kobe. I don't. Kobe's a great player. I'm not going to overrate him like B-Lee's trying to do right now, even with somebody else's criteria.
I'm using this criteria. That's all.
You sure ain't? You trying to sit here saying people training like Kobe Bryant meant they changed the game? No, it didn't.
And you know what? If you look at my criteria, it balances out Nash's career, because some people would be like, okay, well, let's say Nash didn't deserve them 2 MVPs. The rest of the criteria exposes that even though he does have those 2 MVPs, this is why he doesn't crack like the top 20, because he doesn't meet all the other metrics of what typical top 20 players meet. And so,
I mean, he has.
Which one?
He should.
You don't know basketball.
I the top 20.
I ain't hear nothing. But nothing B-Lee said was crazier than when Lamont told somebody that the 2004 Lakers would sweep the 1993 Suns, and somebody said, I think Richard Dumas and Cedric Ceballos would have slowed Kobe down. Drop the links for him, B-Lee.
That is true. That is true.
Drop the links for him.
You did not say anything about their defense, because they gave Jordan averaged almost 50 points a game. So I want to hear that.
Nah, you got to explain that. You got to explain that.
Hold on. I didn't say Richard Dumas would stop Kobe.
No,
he said somebody else said that.
I'm about to say, I'm like, hell no.
The 04 Lakers would sweep the 93 Suns. And he said, I don't think they would sweep them. And he's talking about Cedric Ceballos and Richard Dumas being the problem for Kobe on the defensive side.
Yeah, I wish they would face a young Kobe with that Mamba mentality. They'll learn. They'll learn that day. They'll learn that day.
He said Richard Dumas and Cedric Ceballos.
Hey man.
Oh man.
Trying to tell you, B. Lee, you are a Kobe super fan to the point where you are just delusional.
I'm just using the criteria.
You're not. He literally told you the criteria, and you're trying to twist one of the points of the criteria to meet some bullshit training standard.
No, I'm using what NBA players stated. That's all.
That's not the entire NBA. We're talking about how these players affected the entire NBA, not individual players.
I mean, not everyone shoot threes like Steph, so that don't affect everybody.
Yeah, but everybody's impacted.
Change how defenses are run.
Everybody's impacted.
He changed how defenses guard in the NBA due to his three-point shooting.
Trying to go after that style.
What did Kobe change in the NBA on the court in a game? Exactly. Exactly. Nothing.
Hold on. Mr. Baller, I said Kobe affected the entire NBA in terms of footwork.
Yeah, footwork skill. Footwork he had, man.
That's a skill set. That's not changing the NBA.
The GOAT of footwork. That's what he's the GOAT of. He's the GOAT of footwork. So you know what? He does get another box, B. Lee. He's the GOAT of footwork. Because every time somebody talks about Kobe, they talk about fucking footwork.
Skill player of all time. So hey, that's the GOAT of something.
Hold on, they say he's the what?
Most skilled player of all time, just like Steph Curry.
How did that change anything on the court? Did it change how defense guarded him?
Players say Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, and you can't measure the greatest shooter of all time. So
yes,
Kobe
why can't you measure the greatest shooter of all time?
No, he's not.
You can absolutely measure the greatest shooter of all time.
You cannot measure that.
I can make an argument KD's more skilled. I can make an argument that KD's more skilled than Kobe Bryant.
You can't measure.
I can make an argument KD's more skilled than Kobe Bryant. I can do that.
Yeah, if you want, but the NBA
he's not more
players
skilled
don't say
than LeBron. I'll tell you that much.
The NBA players say that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter.
Hold on. Is Kobe more skilled than LeBron?
No. No.
Nah.
So how's he the most skilled player of all time? Because he's definitely
exactly.
He's more skilled.
I mean, let's not bring a LeBron into this question.
It's the shoe. It's the footwork. That's why he's more, because of that magical fucking footwork.
Y'all not slick. Y'all not slick. Don't be trying to.
LeBron is an NBA player.
Magical footwork is what makes Kobe the most skilled player ever. His feet are like magical wands, and he just yells out "Vala Kadabra," and he scores the basketball.
NBA players are saying this. I'm using their words, not my words. I don't know.
I'm just using, in your opinion, is Kobe more skilled than LeBron?
I'm not going to answer that because
you know he's not.
I'm just not going to answer that. I'm
just going to say he's not. You know he's not.
Players stated.
But is Kobe the most skilled player ever?
Nah, force him to answer the question. Force it. Everybody asks B. Lee the question: is Kobe more skilled than LeBron? We are not moving on to answer that question.
I don't know that answer.
Ask him the question. Ask him the question again, Lamont.
Herm said Kobe holds more weight than all you bum. I don't even know if that's supposed to mean Herm, but okay. He must have said something great in the comments.
Well, look, here's the thing, B-Lee. I'm not asking for validation from another player. What do you think
about Kobe being
more skilled than LeBron?
If you're going to attribute the GOAT of something to Kobe, and you say if you're going to say he's the most skilled player of all time, I'm asking you: is he more skilled than LeBron James? That's the only way we can make him the GOAT of anything. I think the skill category would be the only category.
Real quiet.
I'm not answering that.
I mean,
hey Johnny, you gotta clip this. Hey Johnny, you gotta clip this part right here, bro.
I'm only saying what the NBA players are stating. So my opinion do not matter in this conversation right now.
I don't want to. No, because you're just no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Not at all. You said he's the most skilled player ever. So you gave your
no. I didn't say that. I didn't say that though.
Yes, you did.
I said the NBA players say he's the most skilled, just like they say Steph Curry.
So okay, is he more skilled than LeBron? Because there's NBA players who say LeBron is the most skilled player they've ever seen. So we have conflicting accounts here. We need you to be the tie-breaking vote. Damn. Is he more skilled than LeBron? So he can be the GOAT of something.
Yeah, it's ball, but
inquiring minds want to know, B-Lee. Somebody give him the Jeopardy music. Do 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 do.
I'm about to kick Twin Man off the
Hey, I gotta get out of here anyway. Yeah. Hey, I gotta slide
right now.
I gotta slide. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks for All right, we'll go ahead and about to go ahead and get out of here.
Hey, Johnny, you better clip this part, bro.
Yeah,
now you want to run. Now you want to run.
I think I made a good enough argument to put Kobe in the top 10 with Lamont's criteria.
Sure didn't.
So that's all that matters in the sense of things.
Didn't.
So
you lied. You sure didn't. Don't tell that lie.
So you can chalk this up for another win for me. And we'll see you guys next Saturday at 9 p.m. All right, guys.